What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Town Hall. Oh my god, XSplit is not cooperating. We don't have a video here, but that's okay. This is
every time.
Every time. One thing doesn't want to work. But on that note, this is episode number 30 of Town Hall Heroes, the Heroes of the Storm podcast, where we talk about everything happening in the competitive community. Now, while I fix the overlay here, we have a special guest this week. It is, in fact, Dreadnot of Team Symbio Gaming. Dreadnot, why don't you introduce yourself? You've been on the show before, but for anyone that doesn't know who you are, give us the rundown.
I'm Dreadnought from Symbio Gaming, captain and shot caller for that team. I compete in the HPL and the ECS, I believe are the correct letters. And I actually haven't been on the show before. I've been on Clairvoyant, but never actually on Town Hall.
I was going to call.
But as always, it's nice to be with you guys and talk it out and have a good time, discuss the game. Other than that, I guess I don't really have much about like historically in my background and anything. My team members, if anybody doesn't know, on Symbio Gaming are KO, which is mispronounced a lot. KO, Soldier, Mad Timmy, and Arthalon. And if you guys want to check out any of them, we have a Twitter where you can find all of our personal Twitters and our team Twitter.
What Twitter is that?
It would be at Symbio Gaming, I believe.
You believe? All right. Well, that's potentially their Twitter where you can find all of the.
That is at Symbio Gaming. Can confirm. Found it. It is 100% at Symbio Gaming.
Source work for the team.
Nice, nice. Well, XSplit is fixed. My cat is almost rolling off the bed. That's good. Cat show's over though. Jared, what's up with you, man? How are the Lunchables? How's the Lunchable life going?
Dude, it's not going well, man. Like, this druid plays Kel'Thuzad, and then he double innervates and mirror entities it. Kel'Thuzad's a 6/8, right? And his ability is at the end of every turn, he reses all friendly minions that died this turn. So unless I can kill 2 6/8s in one turn as a priest, where I'd already used my Shadow or Death, there's no killing anything on the board. It's just,
Jared,
it's just the worst thing ever.
Are you playing Hearthstone while you're on the show? God.
I was playing it in the pre-show. I was playing it in the pre-show. But
Hashtag
other than
passion.
that, yeah, things are going good. The KotN went really well. We hit like 600 viewers at the end of the last game, which I was expecting 200 tops if we got lucky. So everything's been going good. And I've been playing a lot of Zeratul for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going ham on the Zeratul.
I've been seeing a lot of Zeratul in general in the game.
Zeratul's all over the place. We can cover that later on if we want to go over like meta stuff, but I love Zeratul. I love the Zeratul picks.
Hate him.
Well, before we jump into heroes, Kevo, what's going on with you?
A lot of stuff's going on. As Jared said, we've got that new King of the Nexus series. It went really well on Sunday. That was really cool. Got a lot of great feedback from that, as well as the viewer numbers and everything. So really happy about that. Even though Jared was broadcasting at low graphics, people were like, "Hey, what happened to your computer?" And I was like, "Nothing. Nothing happened to my computer." And then last night, actually, after I played a whole bunch of games, decided to do a Heroes Fire guide, and I spent like 2.5 hours on it, and I put it up on Reddit, and I waited around for like 45 minutes, just chilling out, just like checking and doing other stuff before I went to sleep, and then I went back to Reddit right before I went to sleep, and it was still at 1 upvote, and I was like, oh, I guess nobody really liked it, so I went to sleep. I woke up this morning, I was like, I wonder how it did, and I was like, oh man, I still got no red mails on Reddit. I guess nobody liked it.
Oh my god, what is that awful sound?
Somebody unmuted.
Is it my mic?
Yes.
It is.
Why?
What?
Yeah, I'm
Rip.
to swap to my headset
Rip.
because my Yeti's been doing this a lot lately. And I don't
God, I'm
That was introduction. I got terrified.
I'm sorry, viewers. That was. Ooh. Oh,
Was it really that bad?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was super loud.
I would
Anyway,
even go so far as to describe it as miserable. That was.
now you're really quiet.
Is this better?
Anyway,
Oh my
yeah, that's
gosh.
better.
Oh my
Anyway, so apparently it did really well. I got like some 20-some upvotes by that point, and I was really happy. So I'm going to be doing more guides probably in the coming future. Don't know about what or who, but
It's very pretty.
Did you, out of
Thank you.
curiosity, leave open options on the Relentless tier? Or did you say the Relentless was 100%?
I said Relentless or Spell Shield. Because I don't really like either of the Shadow Charge talents that much, actually.
I was just
The
curious.
slow is I mean, like the slow's nice, but I feel like there's, if you're already like smashing somebody into a wall, then it's just like an extra second of slow, I think, if that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really find like it was that useful if you're getting the good shadow charges off. So I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so that was my fun little thing. It's nice. It was Diablo. It was great. I was happy.
So Kev, are you gonna be investing in one of those vacuum cleaner microphone combos?
Woo!
That's what somebody just said in chat. That made me laugh a lot. The Sandman. The value. It's the value play. You just save so much money when you just buy it as one device. I mean, Jared obviously saw a spider and he had to suck it up.
Dude, spiders terrify me, man. They're scary.
It's the Dust Devil microphone. It's a 2-in-1.
It's Dyson.
This is a $130 studio microphone, all right? It's not my fault. I blame Blue Yetis everywhere.
The Dyson microphone.
Well, your Yeti just farted or something.
You
that
guys
was
are killing
loud,
me.
but...
You guys are killing me.
Well, Kubi, you're not dead yet. What's up with you?
Oh my goodness. I'm doing good. You know what I completed this week? I completed Kev's challenge. One Kubi cat picture every day this week. If you guys haven't seen that, check out my Twitter. @OmegaBlackMage. Excellent pictures. Very special one at the end.
The greatest one was the last one.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. We're gonna go through this with the stream really quick, just because it's incredibly important. I mean, Kubi's kitty. So this is maybe the cat. You met her in the pre-show. You've seen her before. Here she is.
She does look very hollow pointed inside. She looks very upset in every picture. I assure you, the cat went through no trauma through any of these pictures, including the last one.
Contemplating life's finer mysteries.
Yeah.
And the last one, which is I died when I saw this guy.
Yeah,
very good, very good. Kubi, you get an A for the week.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
You get an A for the week. Well,
I hit 100.
100 followers? Did he?
No, I was close.
Go follow Omega Blackmage on Twitter.
Please.
Go.
95
We're
more.
trying to get him to 100. Yeah.
5 more. Come on, guys.
You gotta keep tweeting though, Kubi.
I'll do it.
Look at that Zoya MVP play, just linking it in the chat for the Twitch viewers. Well, on that note, today we're going to be talking with Dreadnought. Dreadnought is in fact our guest for the evening, so we're going to be interviewing you briefly, talking to you a little bit about Heroes of the Storm and your team and all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about Chen Stormstout. It's Chen week this week, so we know that Chen is probably coming into the game tomorrow. We have extended maintenance on a Wednesday, which means they're adding a hero, because every single time that's been the formula, and he may not be playing. I mean, there's a good chance that maintenance will be running late into the night, and he might not be up until Thursday. Let's hope that's not the case, though. And then we're going to be talking about ECS, King of the Nexus, all the esports tournament stuff going on right now. We're going to talk about just basically the teams in the community and how quickly we're seeing roster changes and how frequently it's a very common thing, and kind of what that means for the Heroes of the Storm community, kind of how it affects the community. Considering it is really, really early in the community, and I said community like 10 times in that last 5 seconds, but it's good. And we're going to be doing a Tassadar Deep-Dive. We do, in fact, have our self-proclaimed expert.
Self-proclaimed expert.
Tassadar expert.
Who's the TAS expert?
You are today.
You are the self-proclaimed.
I don't know if I'd say self-proclaimed, but
I saw on Reddit he said he was the best Tassadar in the world. I saw him.
Jared, you get an A for style there. You did the whole glasses. I like it. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I like it. But on that note, let's talk to you, Dreadnought. Let's talk about you a little bit more. Now, you gave us a brief intro in the start there, but I mean, why Heroes of the Storm? I mean, there's a lot of games out there that are like Heroes of the Storm, but what really brought you to this game?
Well, for me, it's anything of the MOBA genre I'm actually a pretty big fan of. And so Heroes was essentially just the infancy of the game, I guess, was something that I really enjoy, because the learning, I came from League was where I spent most of my MOBA experience, and with the meta already being established and something that you couldn't really innovate in, the infancy of this game and where everybody's learning at the same pace is something that I really like, because then it leads you to be able to be at the forefront of that innovation. So whoever, which I think it's typically attributed to the Europeans in League, for instance, doing the ranged AD carry support bot lane, they were the first to be able to do that, and it was because of how early they hit the game. And I just like the analysis of MOBAs, but then also like the infancy of Heroes is something that's really attractive, like for me.
So your background, is it more in MOBAs or Blizzard titles? Like what kind of like gave you the thing, like the relation to Heroes?
I would argue it's a little bit of both. My first PC games that I ever came to play were all made by Blizzard. So World of Warcraft was one of the first ones that I came to PC for, and also StarCraft 2. I played both, like lightly, like because I'm a competitive person. Like for myself, I play competitively, but never like seriously. And then I went to League after that, and then now I'm here at Heroes. So it's kind of both.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about Symbio, because Symbio is arguably the best team in the alpha right now. I think a lot of people would say that, and we're not trying to flatter you. It's just you guys have the results, that's for sure. So how'd you guys meet up? Like, do you guys have previous gaming experience in other titles?
Yeah, we definitely all have a background in different titles, and most of them are in the MOBA genre. We originally met up from a Reddit post, actually, and me, Arth, and Kay all responded to it, and then we were essentially like the core of our group at that time, and then eventually we realized that the two people who had posted that Reddit forum, we didn't really believe that they could keep up with like the competition, and that, so we looked for other players, and it took a while, and eventually we finally found Timmy and Soldier. Soldier has a background challenger in League of Legends. Arthalon has a background of being all the way to Challenger Series in League of Legends, like rank 3, I believe, season 1 or 2. In the latter, for solo queue. Timmy's got a background in League of Legends. I have it in League of Legends, and KO is an ex-professional Smite player.
So, so you guys met up for, was it for Symbio Gaming, or was it for a different team entirely? Like, was it a different captain?
No, it was a different captain, but it was Symbio Gaming. Yeah,
it was Symbio Gaming. Okay.
And so
you guys took over this person's team,
it sounds like
and then kicked them out of it.
It essentially, how it went down is we realized that it was like that. Okay, so the guy who was official head of it actually just kind of went rogue and like disappeared for a period of time, and so we were like, well, we need to automatically replace him, and he was the technical like captain of the team at that point, so being one of the original 2 members. So he left just because of real life things, and then the other player who then technically took the role of like captain, I guess, was then a player that we felt just didn't really keep up with us at the time, and so then we just told him that we felt that would be the best decision, and that we could either like separate ourselves from the team and he keep that, or we keep with it and remove him, and he pretty much just said okay and left. And from then on, it was spending the next like month worth of like searching for the players that we felt personality, gameplay, and comms wise like worked with us well.
In before, like when Heroes like WCS or whatever comes out, like 2 seasons in, Symbio Gaming is still smashing competition, and this guy comes in and says, "Excuse me, Symbio Gaming is my trademark. I'm gonna sue you guys for all your winnings." Oof, calling it right now. Mark the date, 9/9/2014.
Let's say
anyway,
that at that point that we still have the same name. I mean, like realistically, a lot of companies like to change it. So I mean,
it's true. It's true.
So a lot of companies like to change it. Does that mean you guys are already reaching out to like big name corporations like EG and whatnot?
I think a lot of people are doing that in the scene right now. I don't think any of them are like, I guess, like begging for it or anything, but definitely trying to be like, we're here and we're something to look at. I want to say that we're necessarily going out of our way to look at them or anybody the other way around, but I definitely know in the community as a whole that there are a lot of people who are, I mean, reaching out.
Cool. Well, I mean, teams that might be watching this, Symbio is definitely one of those teams to look at if you guys are looking to pick up a hero squad. But it is a bit early. I mean, tournaments are still kind of scarce, and there's no prize money yet, so they might not see the value yet. And actually, last night I had an interview with LZ Gamer and Idra, and they pretty much said, yeah, we thought about it, we looked into it, but right now there's actually not a whole lot of like value. Like if we were to accept a contract with a big team, we're not going to get what we're actually worth because there's no market value for them. So it's like kind of preemptive in their opinion, and a lot of teams probably feel that way. So it might be some time before we see Cloud9, Alliance, EG, Liquid, all those guys jumping over and picking up squads. But I guarantee you that they are in fact looking at the Heroes community and with great intent, and they see the potential of it because you look at a lot of other games, and Heroes already has a community that's like as competitive as them, with zero functionality that supports it. We don't have customs, we don't have replays. Well, we have replays, but we're not supposed to have replays. But we don't have any kind of like support. So, and the community is going strong, and it's growing at a good pace.
I think what's actually really interesting, and I think why a lot of people really are looking into this game, is that Blizzard has, I think they've confirmed, like over 100 developers working on this game. Like, this is going to be a AAA title no matter what. It's whether or not you're going to be on board for this Blizzard game early, or you're going to be on board for it later on, right? So, you know, I think it's really smart, and that's, I think, why we're seeing a lot of teams like Curse and My Insanity and all those kind of being early adopters and
Right.
et cetera. But it is a really good point to wait a little bit, because I know on my first jump into StarCraft 2 professional casting, I did not wait. Quantic was like, "Hey, you want to be a caster?" I was like, "Oh, yeah!" And I was like, "Wait, no, that was a bad idea." Shit.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad idea for a company to get involved. If there's very little risk to invest in a team, like they're probably not giving My Insanity Curse. They're probably not getting a whole lot. Like they might be getting equipment, they might be getting some kind of support and some kind of promotion, which is a lot for those guys, and it does a ton for those players' profiles. So it's very valuable. But like in terms of actual physical money, I don't think they're investing a ton. So it's kind of a win-win for the players and those teams that have already been, you know, announced and invested in.
What about physical money? All these quarters.
they were comparing who has more quarters during the pre-show. It's kind of
It's kind of important, buddy. All right.
It's kind of important. Kind of a big deal.
The interesting thing that I thought about it was that Kevin's sack was bigger. Sack of quarters, I mean.
Anyway, so Wade, what are you thinking about your team right now? Like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can, say, I don't know, like Team Town Hall exploit against Symbio Gaming if we were to join any type of tournament in the near future? Just a thought.
I think. Oh man.
Just go into strengths. It's okay. You don't have to explain your weaknesses.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out the weak. I can definitely say strength-wise, I believe is we adapt. I think better than a large portion of teams. Like the other day, it was pointed out in our ECS match how we change our talents on the fly, depending on the game that we're playing and what we think is like most beneficial at what point. And that's something that I think a lot of teams don't do because of the old like idea that you have to build every character a certain way. And it's like whether it be a certain thing that we see on a map that's really strong and a strategy, like we just figure things out pretty quick and we like activate them relatively quickly as well.
Can you give an example? Like, can you give an exact example of? I mean, the games that were the other day that Zoya pointed out. You guys swapped talent, but can you explain like one of those adaptations that happened?
Do you want specifically from that, or do you want like more
just
of like
any whatever your favorite one was, or something like that?
One that it was never like an actual. It was in a scrim one time against a specific team where we actually got mines again, and we were on the bottom half and they were on the top, and they ended up getting a lead in skulls on us, and they were even in levels. But they had it was like a 75 to 25 golem, and they decided to start pushing, and we said we would push with our golem as well. But what happened is we had Arthas, and so then we realized that they had a really strong push and a stronger golem. But at that point, if they were going to go to the keep at the same time we would go for the keep, if they kept pushing with Syndragosa, we could actually outpush them. And so it wasn't like it was a losing match until we realized that if they tried to base race us, we have the stronger, because I can stop like the turrets like with my ult and everything else. And so it was like realizing even being at a disadvantage, we ended up winning a game merely because we adapted to the scenario that we're in.
And that's something that I guarantee you 99% of teams would overlook. Like, just reactively pick Syndragosa because that's not a common pick, really. It's not that Syndragosa is bad, but that's a great example, though. That's really cool.
It also happened yesterday. I think it was Clairvoyant Gaming. They took Ultralisk at the last second on a Haunted Mine just so they can push a little harder.
Yep, it was a really smart pickup.
Yeah, it was a cool game.
Huh, that's really cool. I missed that game. Cool. So, competitively, I mean, you guys are very active. Where do you want to see the community go? Where do you want to see, like, in terms of, like, a league or format for, like, the end-all for Heroes?
I guess I can't answer that as awesome as I would like to. I've had this discussion with a couple other players, and Idra references, I believe it's the WCS as being the ideal format, and I don't know enough about that to actually be able to explain what I think is right and wrong. I only know enough about the LCS to be able to tell you what I think is right and wrong. But how they make it sound is the WCS format is a very appealing thing. But one thing that I think that they fail to have is, like, one of the advantages of the LCS is being a salary and a heavy support for teams that aren't necessarily dominating the scene at the point. That they're willing to be able to remain as a group 5, even though they aren't absolutely destroying everything. I mean, an example would be the struggle of, like, CLG would be an example.
Sorry,
whereas, like, comparative to, like, where, like, Cloud9 definitely doesn't have to, like, or TSM, like, haven't had to worry about that nearly as much. But there's also a lot of flaws with the LCS, as in smashing of the challenger scene, a lot of dominance by Riot as a company, and so those kind of things I think are flawed. And but, like, the region locking of the LCS is also a really, like, healthy thing. And so I think there's pros and cons to both, but I definitely think that if we implemented the positives of the LCS into the WCS, it would be a very healthy idea from what I know about the LCS from Idra.
Well, from the WCS actually recently, for those of you StarCraft fans, they just recently made region locking a thing. You actually have to be a resident of the country or have a visa or whatever.
Right.
Which is, really
Perfect.
good.
It's ideal. Yeah, it's really good. So that was a big issue with WCS for a long time.
Yeah.
But WCS from the start has actually improved a lot. There's a few more things that need to be tweaked. Obviously, the salary thing, the main one, but if they do the WCS format again for Heroes, I'd be very happy. I mean, it started off rocky, but WCS is really a really solid system.
So this is a question for everyone. While we're on the topic of region locking, do you guys think that Heroes will be a Korean or Asian dominant esport? And why?
More than likely, not. I mean, I don't think it'll be dominant, but eventually, if they take it seriously, eventually they're gonna get ahead, and it's all because of the training houses. We have like a few here in North America, and they're not even like legit Korean training houses. I mean, they're not going to be dominant like they were in Brood War. I don't think. I don't think that'll ever happen again in any game. For at least because of how we're slowly adapting to the game.
I don't know. I mean, like, look at StarCraft 2, man. Like,
yeah, that's a good point too.
They're still dominant there. Still dominant in LCS. I mean, I think the China region is starting to kind of get a little bit more motion on that. But I mean, to be honest, actually, I have a video about this on YouTube. But my biggest point is actually one of the things that happens with the difference between our two cultures is that most Americans work for an 8-hour day, whereas Korea, it is a very standard practice to be working for 15 plus hours a day. They're very used to these types of hours. And I mean, I don't want to speak for all NA gamers, but I know a lot of NA gamers will get done after like 8-10 hour shifts and be like, well, I'm done. You look at somebody like Action, when he was just joining KT Rolster in the end of StarCraft Brood War, I think 2009, 2010, he was training for 17 to 19 hours a day.
That's insane. That's StarCraft 2. That's a game that's like physically.
No, that was StarCraft. That was StarCraft Brood War when Action first came on the scene.
Even more difficult. Like
yeah. Flash was doing 15 to 17 hours at that time.
Yeah, but he had a $1 million contract. I could do that too.
Exactly. But it's really just comes down to that. I mean, the infrastructure, the internet, everything that also really works well for the country of Korea, to kind of foster this type of environment as well. But it's really just I honestly think that's probably the biggest difference, and that's why it's a lot different. They've had this scene for years. The NA scene has started to get coaches, etc. We're starting to actually finally start to see that really pour in more with LCS and Dota. But for the most part, I think that's one of the craziest things that still drives the biggest divide between our two cultures.
So Corey, you heard him. We're turning your house into a training house.
To a training house,
and
yeah.
we're just gonna do it.
I do think that is the largest factor, but I think it's going to take a while. I think if teams are like actually serious about it, make a house and have people training on a consistent schedule, I think it will take some time before like we see any sort of like Asian or Korean dominance in the game. like on the scale of like 4 years or something like that. In my opinion.
Well, it's not just the house that gives them the advantage. Like, I mean, if we look at the EG house for StarCraft 2, yes, they all did improve, but in Korea they have a team house, and then their neighbors are a team house they can practice with, and then like 40 other teams that they can consistently practice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
15
like
hours a day
everybody
with.
Needs to get on board with this early. If we do, then like there's going to be no difference, in my opinion. But not at least initially.
It won't ever be as big as it was for StarCraft and StarCraft 2, where the Koreans were just so much better.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's bound to happen.
Dread, do you feel the same way, or do you have no opinion on this really?
I 100% believe the difference, like region, like wise, is definitely culturally driven, and I think there has been the slow rise of it in the U.S. and the NA scene, and I think it will only keep happening. I just feel that they developed it in this specific region like far earlier than we ever did, and because of that, they are far ahead culturally. And I don't know if I will say that you will see it dominating like this game specifically, because it depends how we adapt to it culturally, but as a whole, that would be my reasoning. Is like, it's not gameplay or dedication or anything else, it's just culturally they're taught to dominate, and they're promoted far heavier. Like, gaming in the US typically is considered to be a hobby, where there it can be considered a very valid profession if you know what you're doing. So
would Symbio...
But the biggest... Hold on. Do you know what the biggest difference between North America and South Korea is, though, right?
What is it? Teach me.
South Korea's got soul.
Yeah,
I knew it. I could hear the tone of his voice.
Exactly.
Here it comes.
God, Kev.
So, I don't know if you can speak for your whole team, but would you guys be willing to relocate to a training house and have a coach and that whole, full-time esports living together life? Is that something that you'd personally be willing to do?
I can speak for my whole team on that as well, and the answer is yeah, definitely. We've discussed like the opportunity, and if it arises, like how will we deal with it, and we've all openly like realized that we are willing to do so.
Awesome. That's good to hear, actually. That's really good to hear. Most of the players on your team, college students, like what's the age range?
I believe the oldest age is 24 years old. The youngest is 19.
Sounds about right for esports.
I'm ancient.
I know, right?
all three of you are old farts, man.
Jared, you're the youngest on the show. How old are you?
24.
Just turned 21.
Just turned 21.
What?
Just turned 21.
Yeah, I just turned 21.
Cool. Well, that's really exciting to hear. I mean, I really hope that Heroes gets to that point, to the point where we do have team houses for it, because even StarCraft 2 is team houses, and it's not even a team game. But having that training environment is really helpful to, even if it's a 1v1 game, just having that opinion from someone right next to you and that training partner in the same house where you can just constantly talking about the game. That's one thing I love about doing shows with Heroes of the Storm. I learned so much just by sitting here and talking with you guys and talking with players and whatnot about the game. It's a lot of fun, and it definitely helps. So living together, I mean, I think when Kubi and I are together, we're just gonna... It might be overkill. It's gonna be exciting. But before we overkill that, we're gonna overkill a hero that we're gonna be talking about a lot over the next few weeks.
That segue, son.
Chen Stormstout is coming out. It is Chen week, so that pretty much means that he's coming out this week. We have extended maintenance coming tomorrow. I don't know the exact time, but Chen Stormstout will likely be implemented into the game then. We can't say for sure, but we do have a little video that Blizz did throw out for us, and I'll load that up real quick. But who's excited for Chen?
I don't play Warriors, so I don't care.
I play Warriors. I'm still not excited for Chen.
Why? His ultimate looks awesome. Heroic, sorry.
But
So what?
I mean, like, I don't know. He's another displacement warrior with, kind of a couple of cute, cheeky little things. It just, to me, it seems like it's much of the same that we've been seeing with Warriors.
They've been trying so hard to make fun concepts that they just kind of threw together this standard one, and we're like, here you go.
We've got so many warriors already, and I'm starting to feel like Idra when I'm saying, Blizzard, please give us assassins.
So
mages. We don't need assassins. We need Jaina, man.
So you guys are looking at Chen, and you're calling him the standard one. But let's pause and look at the screen here. This heroic, where he splits into 3 different heroes, basically has 2 abilities when you're using it. Now, one of them is melee, and the other, I think this guy's, the red one's melee, I think the blue one shoots lightning bolts, and this guy's also melee and slows, I think, the green one. essentially this heroic allows you to use 2 abilities. Now, one of them is split up, and the other one is where you literally just pounce on someone, and you have 3 bodies that are able to body block. So I think he's going to be a little bit different, and that's also, it's like it acts like Odin, where it's a second life bar. So he's a tank that then turns into this, and then once they're all dead, he goes back to just being normal Chen. That's one of his heroics.
Yeah, that's one of his
I thought
heroics.
that was just 3 random old panda dudes.
No.
I realized that was showing off his second heroic.
That's a heroic. The green one slows, the red one's just melee damage, and the blue one's like range damage. So he has an ability where you can actually dive with all 3 of them and really just body block someone. You have 3 bodies blocking someone. And again, it works like Odin, where he's going to be alive for a very long time. So honestly, I think that's going to be a really strong heroic, and I think that the other one, which is just like so much pushing and so much bullying, like it's a ridiculous amount of bullying, especially at level 20, because you get 300% move speed with his barrel roll, and that's just like a boatload of move speed.
The thing is going to be so hard to control to like do anything cohesive with your team. It's just like gone all over the place. Everyone's just flying away. It's like, all right, this is neat, but we're trying to get something done here. Everyone's just flying away.
It has so much utility. I mean, if you have to disengage, he can just push everyone out of the way.
Yeah.
If you have to just like stall for an objective, like it's so much zoning. When he's in the barrel, he can't be knocked out of it. That's what we understand, at least. This is all info that I got from CSD because he actually played the character three or four times at PAX, and I did a whole interview with him on Clairvoyance where I just picked his brain and all the different heroes. So that's what I learned from him about Chen. And actually, initially I was in the same boat as you guys, where I was like, he doesn't look that exciting. But the more I look at him, I'm like, I think he's gonna change up the meta a little bit. Not as much as a noob, but I think he's definitely gonna change up the meta.
Come on, man, Asmodan. That's the one we're waiting for.
That's what I want. That's what I want. But because I'm like you, I don't play tanks. I mean, I'm gonna play both. I'm going to play all the new heroes that come out, honestly, but it's really not my cup of tea, per se.
They're called warriors, not tanks, Jake.
I'm sorry. Warriors.
So we already have a tank. It's called Sergeant Hammer. Dreadnought, you are your team's big warrior player. Have you any thoughts on Chen just yet?
I don't feel like I've gotten to see enough gameplay to where I can say if I think he's going to be really strong or really weak. But
no, we don't do that. We make blatant, ignorant opinions about heroes before we start playing them. Come on, buddy.
What Jake said is actually, I think, really relevant. And it's not even because of the strength of the character, just the fact that he is an option alone will shift the meta. And then not only that, I think also he's right about the idea of disengaged. And until I actually get to play the tumbling ult, I would actually say that it might not be as chaotic as Omega makes it out to be. It actually might be extremely strong for isolation, and almost as like a Stitch's hook without the hook, because he has a leap, correct, and then he has the ability to transform into that, and the knockback is actually pretty far. So at that point, he can actually knock back the character who's isolated forward, and then knock back everybody else backwards to where there is no response. Knockbacks,
and then force wall, right?
Well,
I mean, you can either force wall, but one thing about knockbacks, how they work in this game is actually really interesting, is they're actually a permanent CC. So how it is like, even though technically you're only being displaced, you don't have the ability to do anything. So, for instance, level 20 Emerald Wind is actually a suppression if you get hit by all 3 every time.
Oh yeah.
So in reality, it's almost of like if I obviously don't know until I get to play it, but in theory, in my head, it's you can separate one person and then suppress the back, like the back line.
Let me like just jump in and confirm that flying kick, which is his Q, I believe. Matt said it works like Illidan, where he jumps over you. So he hits you, and then he goes on the other side of you, and then you pop in your barrel and just say, no, get over here, get over here, get over here. And you just push them way out of position. In theory, you could use that to get behind 2 of their people and push them way into your towers, especially at level 20, 300% move speed. He said you can just punt someone from like their wall back to your wall. And just pin them against the tower or something. Like, it's just I think he's gonna be really strong. Like, I really think somebody's gonna get really good with him and just wreck people. And both heroics are gonna have situations where they're good, because if you really just need somebody to be able to peel, again, it's a tank that has something that functions like Odin. He just gets in and has a whole second life bar suddenly, and he can peel twice as well, and he can body block with 3 people, and he has a slow on one of those guys that's constantly slowing people. So it's like really, really strong options. So I don't think he's just a fluffy new tank that he looks like. I mean, I think we all looked at him and said, "Wow, he looks boring." But the more I think about it, I think he's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Boring.
Damn.
I'm just kind of like, I mean, I got my warrior. I'm gonna be playing Diablo nonstop.
Oh my goodness.
Witch Doctor for life. Get out of here.
And I don't know. I mean, again, we've had specialists, we've had supports, we've had everything. We haven't really had an assassin since Tychus, and Tychus was pretty much there on launch.
Tychus came with launch. No, he did come with
Tychus
launch. He wasn't at
yeah.
BlizzCon, but he came with launch. So
yeah, so Tychus is our latest assassin.
but the thing is, assassins are the
since
most.
launch.
What?
We have more assassins than anyone.
Yeah,
though.
there are.
I don't
Really?
think Tychus was launch. I think Tychus was like 3
No,
weeks after launch.
No, the hero week for Tychus was after launch, but he was out with launch.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I guess if you don't like, yes, I think assassins are the most. They might be tied with support.
They are now because they added 3 supports. They added Lily, Brightwing, and Rhaegar.
But assassins are weird to classify because like Kerrigan's not really an assassin,
Yeah.
but she's technically an assassin, and then you got someone like
Barb, who's actually a warrior, kind of an
Barb
assassin.
War, yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
But I mean, granted, they added They added 2 specialists, 3 supports, and now we're getting 2 tanks and another
warrior.
specialist. So, but we know that we have both Sylvanas and Kael'thas on the horizon.
Jaina.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that's a mage, and Sylvanas is going to be obviously an assassin as well with a silence mechanic. I'm going to play the crap out of her. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's surprising that we haven't seen an assassin in that long, and it'll be exciting to get one. Technically, they reworked Illidan.
No, that's why I was like, we don't have that many assassins available to us because, well, Illidan doesn't really count.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Zeratul, I guess when I saw Glaurung playing Zeratul yesterday, he actually did feel assassiny. Like I think yesterday Glaurung Zeratul did like 55k damage and he was on top.
His Zeratul is so good. I played with him in Chef
so
the other
scary.
day, and like just the way he uses Wormhole was like so
it's a
aggressive.
lot of damage.
Like it was like really cool to watch.
But outside of his Zeratul's more of a utility than an assassin in most situations. But I guess if people start playing him like Glaurung does, it was insane.
Yeah. So, Koobs, do you have any other impressions on Chen? I mean, you didn't really talk much about him.
Yeah, I'm just remembering the video that they showed us from China Joy, I think it was, where they were showing off the barrel ult, and it just looked like very little control over the situation.
Unwieldy,
But if it's something, like you guys were talking about, where you can use it to just like pick somebody and be like, nope, you're not doing anything for the rest of the fight, and you're not going to be where you want to be at the end of it. That'll be obviously really good. It really depends on how much control you have over it. 300% move speed. And like it depends on like what your ability to turn is. If it's something where it's the turning is very unwieldy, then it may end up being something that's not very useful. We'll have to see.
So when I force you to play him in a duo queue next week,
okay,
you're gonna be up for the challenge. Okay,
yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna force you to that. Cool. Any final thoughts on Chen? Because we're gonna be playing with him a lot as soon as he comes out, and we're obviously gonna be talking about him a lot next week. So I don't think we really need to sit on that topic too long today.
Yeah, a lot of he's coming out from Jake here, guys. There is the possibility that we could just see Asmodan and not Chen.
Yes, Asmodan.
How funny would that be? Chen Hero Week, Asmodan releases.
Right. Based on the patterns that we've seen with a Wednesday maintenance and Chen, specific Hero Week, usually we have that hero by that Wednesday or Thursday. But there is, actually, I think there was one time where we had all of that. It might have been Brightwing, and then we didn't get the hero. The hero came the next week. They had some tech issues with the update. There was some, something went wrong. So that could always happen for sure. But they did want to give us the hero. All right, let's do our updates. Jared, you've been casting a lot. We've got Kings of the Nexus just started. That's your guys' new King of the Hill series that the two of you do. And we got ECS ongoing, and of course we have the Heroes Pro League starting up next week. So yeah, just give us the recap for this week. Like, what were the big highlights for you personally?
I mean, in the ECS we had 2 Haunted Mines map. One was played by SMG, and I think the other one was won by Clairvoyant, where they just did super death pushes with the Golem. Neither of them, I think SMG had a huge lead on their skulls, but Clairvoyant's wasn't that big, and it was just cool seeing, like we talked about earlier, the unique talent choices just for that win. We saw Syndragosa immediately get picked, and then we saw the Ultralisk for that extra push. Those were two really cool matches. King of the Nexus, like we talked about at the beginning, it went really well. I think we can go ahead and announce that I don't think we're casting it this Thursday. We're going to try and do it for Sunday. It's still up in the air, but the next one is going to be Glorious. They spoilers, they did win the first show match versus SMG, Symbio Gaming here.
Yep. So Symbio's going to be going on to fight Glorious for the King of the Nexus. And that's going to be this Sunday, probably. Sounds like schedule-wise. We're going to be doing that, casting that Sunday night again, which, kind of worked out last time. We got some pretty good viewership, so maybe Sunday night, because there's nothing going on, that people start watching it. We just need to watch out for next year when Game of Thrones comes out and we get, nobody watching.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, that's going well. I don't really remember any specific matches. I guess we could talk about the state of Snowflake and how they've improved over the last week and a half.
Well, actually, I'd like to point out a couple of meta changes that I've been seeing lately. I mean, it's kind of been about a week old by now, but we've been seeing Zeratul be picked a lot more than we have seen in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We've been seeing the Void Prison coming out from every single Zeratul. Obviously, they're not going to be grabbing. I don't even know what the other one is called.
Shadow Assault.
Shadow Assault. That one, yeah. But yeah, using that Void Prison to come in and pretty much just take out a couple of people. Some people will react by just throwing all of their team in the Void Prison to be just kind of protected. If the enemy team throws a Void Prison down, the other team would just be like, okay, well, they don't have any follow up to this, so we'll just all run to the Void Prison. But when it's not really a well synergied Void Prison, but other times they just use it just to take out a couple of people out of the team fight and then focus down the others. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing we saw from Void Prison. Originally we saw it for Wombo combos. Dread, have you guys been using Void Prison at all, or?
Not so much. There's definitely some teams that value it a lot higher than other teams currently. And I think the reason you saw that shift is because it came accented out of the Stitches Zeratul, and then people started beginning to favor Zeratul even if there is no Stitches.
Now, to counter Stitches, that would be if they grabbed Gorge, you just immediately Void Prison the Stitches so he can't really escape with your teammate?
Yeah, technically, if you actually place it properly, he'll actually drop them outside of the Void Prism to the point where they can walk away for 5 seconds. But it's pretty high-end, VPs if you can nail that every time. Actually, what I would argue, Glorious Gaming has made a big shift in a lot of their ideal compositions, where it used to be very Arthas Kerrigan oriented. It is now very Stitches Zeratul oriented. And so it's actually not to counter the Stitches, it's actually to accent it, because then if you get one pull, you are 100% a kill because 4 people are CC'd.
Yep. That's why I've been playing Zeratul a lot lately. Because
I think we're going to be seeing now a lot of Zeratul in the near future, just because, again, people are learning how to maximize his potential. Before, earlier on, he was just, like you said, he was a wombo combo setup. That's what a lot of people used him for, and that was his main purpose. Kev, your camera's going in and out. I don't know what's going on with it. It's just randomly zooming.
Oh yeah, I'm noticing that. It's flickering a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
It's zooming in and going out.
It's zooming?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's irrelevant. Right, your camera sucks. But yeah,
once more people learn
are
how to play like Laurong, then
right. They're doing these hyper aggressive, going behind enemy lines, just throwing out their, I don't even know what you call it, bouncy ball. I don't play Zeratul ever. It's little
Singularity Spike.
Yes,
that one. the
bouncy ball. The
volleyball. The spike.
Just hyper aggressive play. But at the same time, really just playing. Like an assassin, like just going behind enemy lines and just really getting in there and just being hyper aggressive, and we're seeing a lot of Abathur hunting with him, which has always been a thing, but just I feel like he's just an incredibly dangerous roaming character, and people are finally figuring out how to maximize that.
So I have a question. When you're talking about having Zeratul and Stitches on the same team, and then you pull somebody, Void Prison the other team, kill that person for free. Then you get a Gorge afterwards to pull another person out. That sounds ridiculous. How often do you actually get these two heroes? I'm guessing that teams are kind of like, no, we're not letting this happen.
It depends. It depends on who's the comp, who's running it, and I guess who they're playing against. Like, depending on the day or the composition that like we want to run, we'll either let them have it or we'll not let them have it. Like, it all kind of varies depending on, I guess, what we think we need to run and everything else. But I would say a large portion of players definitely are afraid of it and want to dodge it about as hard as a lot of teams will try to not let us have Tychus, Tassadar, Rhaegar.
Okay.
Well, I mean, speaking of Tychus, Tassadar, Rhaegar, you didn't necessarily have those three in your match in ECS this week, but you guys had a pretty convincing game, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both of them were under 9 minutes on mines.
9 minutes.
Tyrael, Arthas, Rhaegar, Vala, Tassadar. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
It was.
Now I noticed our self-proclaimed Tassadar expert is not playing Tassadar. He's in fact playing Tyrael.
Awkward.
Who's on?
What was the turning point in the match? Like, what gave you such a, I guess, clear victory, such a decisive win?
A death right before the mine spawned. They died, which allows a 3-man auto entry into the mines, which leads to a huge advantage. Then making sure that as long as you maintain the equal XP on the upper half of the map at the same time of collecting skulls as your opponent, you're inevitably going to be in ahead. So then they did that. We got a slight XP advantage, timing with the level 10 to mix with the strength of your golem. As long as you can predict both of those accurately, you usually can 100% smash it, because a lot of teams don't know how to answer to it yet. I would say that we do it enough to where we've got a pretty good idea on how you need to answer to it, but we haven't really been in that scenario yet on that map. So
that was your game against ESV Tempest, correct?
And then another one, you guys won a decisive team fight right before it happened too. Like, you killed 3 people in the mines, and
that was the Tempest game, I think, actually.
I forget the games, but I know it was just struck times.
Yeah, I remember there was one where we got a pick. An early pick, which gave us a big advantage down there, and then another one where it was they gave us the team fight before it. Yeah. And so both of those, they essentially gave us an advantage already, and maintaining XP like properly led to a pretty good advantage. Yeah, so there's the team fight that was lost down below. Double healing ward here, really bright move.
Yeah, that was so sick. I was freaking out about that.
And then the flank here, I get a double, and we end up kicking out everybody out. So now you've got 5 players in the mine with an already skull advantage, like an XP advantage at this point.
Yeah, so double healing ward, is that something you guys run a lot? Is that something you guys chose reactively based on their composition? How prevalent is that in the meta?
We'll talk about that when we talk about Tassadar. I would argue in most scenarios that's the best talent in that talent tree. So it wasn't because, oh my gosh, you can get double healing ward. It's because naturally on Tassadar and naturally on Rhaegar, we actually prefer a healing ward talent. Healing ward's a really interesting spell, and a lot of people don't necessarily, I guess, know how it works. Like, it's a percentile, and so it works beautifully on more than just characters. It works on every map objective as well. So let's say that golem that we fight with, you'll notice we lay at every keep, you'll lay a healing ward down, because it's actually healing every objective along with your team for 2%, which they have a lot more health than you, so efficiency-wise, like, it just becomes much, much better.
Shut up. There's no way you guys are this good. No. Shut up.
Hey guys.
Whatever, man.
Hey guys. You know, I don't want to bring this up.
Stop.
It doesn't work with that golem, it works with Dragon Knight, though.
No, but I do want to bring up one thing, is that I remember like a couple of times we've gone over deep dives that were like, do you pick healing ward? No, healing ward's garbage.
Oh, yeah, we stated
That's
earlier.
happened at least a number of times.
We do that all the time, though. We're just, we never say the right thing.
Don't say that, but I'm just saying, you know.
The meta always shifts to a way where we look dumb in the future.
Hey,
how's that?
Town Hall, we will always get wrecked by our guests. That's just kind of the purpose of our guests.
Jake is always right, too, which is the other thing that's always kind of funny.
Actually, it is. We've talked about this.
Jed and I were talking about this. I was like, yeah, Jake, you know, he's not as good as I am. Which, wow, every single call Jake has ever made about heroics has been right. Emerald Wind.
He gets lucky.
What was the other one?
He gets lucky. I'm not going to ever...
What was the other one?
Not ever gonna back down,
Best
Jake.
analysis and a. Yep.
I can't remember what your other call was.
It was just
Bloodlust and Bloodlust win.
Bloodlust was the other one. I remember Bloodlust.
Nobody was
that
saying
too.
Bloodlust was bad.
And I said, one.
No, Ace was saying Bloodlust was bad.
Yeah.
I want to say that the night of Rhaegar, like that Rhaegar became popular, was the same night you had Ace of Spades here telling you that Rhaegar was a bad character and that Bloodlust was ridiculous. And it took 3 days for everybody to realize, holy hell, Bloodlust is a thing and Symbiote's running it.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, I'd like to go back and watch that VOD because I was like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Bloodlust has a lot of potential.
It was okay. It wasn't so much.
It's happened 30 times.
Bad, it was Rhaegar was bad.
So
it's happened 30 times. The meta always shifts when we say something is definite. It's happened with so many heroes.
Yeah.
And Jake's gotten lucky twice now, so.
So one heroic that I did poop on a long time ago, and I actually haven't seen rise up in the meta yet, was Starfall. I don't know. It's not something I see. I just say I never see a reason to pick that over Shadowstock personally. I've seen it used well in pubs, but in competitive play, do you see it a lot, Dread?
No, it definitely doesn't see a lot of light, but that doesn't mean that I think it's like useless. You are right that a large percentile of the time.
In the reactionary push builds you do.
Somebody was, I think it was it Jake? Somebody said Starfall was the pick.
Maybe like episode 7 when like no one looked at it.
I don't know. All right,
we had the for a week.
I remember somebody was like, "No, Starfall is great," and I was just anyway. It was probably
that was probably
like,
I'm gonna blame Kubi.
25%.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame Kubi.
Of course, I called Brightwing the best
nice.
hero. D. Wilson. Okay. Where is she? Yeah.
Here we go.
That's not Brightwing.
Okay.
Still not Brightwing.
That's
a fairy dragon, not Brightwing. And don't we have topics to stay on?
We do have topics to stay on. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so yeah, we've been seeing a lot of really cool things. I mean, for the most part, one of the cool things is just it seems like a lot more often today, in the past week or two. It's synergies between the entire team composition instead of like in the beginning it was just kind of like everybody's playing just their best hero. Then it was like, doubles, and then soon, triple team compositions. Now it seems like the synergy between 5 stack is actually starting to come around here and there. Sometimes, and you can actually start to see like in the beginning of the compositional picks, like, yeah, they'll get a nice pair, but they won't get the whole flush. And it's actually really cool to see that the meta is starting to actually shift to the point where we're getting these like 5-man team synergies.
I think
that's great.
It's something to note out of that concept too is you're actually going to see less of that in the HPL because of their pick ban system.
Yeah, it's really gross.
It's a unique system that we've actually tested a little bit underneath it to try and figure out what we think is going to shift like meta-wise, and that's under that pick ban phase. And 5-man synergy is nearly impossible as long as both teams know what they're doing on that system.
I remember looking over that and thinking the same thing, that it's going to be gross to watch the first few weeks. That's for sure.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm just saying as for like the evolution of like the synergy, it will fall off in that series at least.
That's the one with they do a first ban and then they do a counter ban halfway through, right?
HPL,
yeah,
yes. After
but
2
the
picks.
most interesting part is actually that it's after 3 picks, I believe. And then
that's the Dota 2 style, right?
3 picks?
It's a ban, and then it's both teams pick 3 according to the normal system. But then you ban, and then it's single picks from there out. So team 1, team 2, team 1, team 2. So it's not even the double ban phase. It's really actually where it comes is the 1-to-1 pick after that. Is you'll finally see this is what they're going, you counter pick. Or you expect where they're going, you ban, they pick, you counter pick. And it's like that part is really interesting and kills that synergy. You're going to see, I would argue, a lot more non-standard damage sources in that league.
Witch Doctor!
You will see more Witch Doctor.
Absolutely.
You will see more Zagara.
Just showed up. We saw Witch Doctor this past week.
Yeah, but I mean that's largely just CG.
I think Clairvoyant doesn't count. They do weird stuff.
Well, I'm not even saying just that. It's like not, but you'll see more from other teams because they'll be forced to at that point, not because they necessarily want to. Whereas CG holds that in one of their compositions.
Luckily, there's such a small hero pool that compositions will still work, but it's 100% what you're saying right now. Like anything like the Rhaegar, Tychus, Tassadar, that you won't get that ever. That's like there's a 0% chance of pulling that off, or any combos like that. It's
so the whole the double ban process. I want to hear everyone's thoughts on it. Let's start with you, Dread. Like, do you think it's too early for that whole like style?
I think it's a little too early. I don't. It's not that I shun the idea of it, though. I mean, anything that brings complexity to the game is something that I enjoy the heck out of. Like more analysis, more strategies. Like it just makes the game more in depth. But for now, yeah. Like originally, 2Arc was a team that would try and practice a 2-ban system early on, and I mean, essentially, it's just something that I think is like a little too soon for the amount of characters in each role.
I want to stop you right there. Complexity hasn't signed a team yet, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh god, Clairvoyant Gaming is what he's hinting at because he said CG. Complexity.
No, he said it brings complexity to the game, and I was like, complexity.
Stop! Kev. Grounded. 5 minutes. Go away.
So Jared, what do you think the right hero count would be to have a double ban? Because you were shaking your head in agreement with Dreadnought there.
I don't know. I would say at least 40.
That's the number I'm thinking too.
40 would be good. Yeah, at least 40. I don't know. It's not something I'm too familiar with because the double ban thing was only... I've seen it in Dota, and it's really cool. The counter bans are awesome, but it's not. I never actually played or watched Dota religiously, so it's not something I'm really well versed with on how many heroes you're going to need. But 40 sounds like a pretty solid number for 2 bans. If you do 1 ban at the start and then do a counter ban halfway through.
And that's far away. I mean, we've got 28 now. Chen will be 29.
We only have 28?
We only have 28 heroes.
28.
Chen will be 29. And Anubarak and Asmodan will make it 31. So they recently said, like, the comfortable amount, their goal is a hero every 4 weeks or so. So based on that logic, it's going to be a long time before we have 40 heroes, unless we get, like... bursts, like a wave of heroes. Like maybe there's a beta where they introduce 5 characters at once or something.
Well, their system for releasing heroes is designed to where like they can have bursts randomly at any point. They have like 10 heroes in design at a time. So if all 10 happen to be ready at one time, I mean they won't release all 10 at once because they don't want to just completely wreck the meta.
Right.
But they'll release like 3 in a wave, 3 in a wave, 3 in a wave. So there is potential to get them faster, but once a month I think is just like a safe bet because they have like. Do you remember, Kev, how many they said they had? Like how many heroes or at least how many because everyone works on their own heroes.
40. Well, I think they said they wanted to do 45 by beta, right?
Yeah, it was 40, or I think they said 42. I think it was an obscure number.
Yeah, 42 is not an obscure number. It's the answer to life universe and everything. But I think it was 45. I think 45 was the number that they were going to go for. And I think we found that odd because it wasn't like 50, which is, nice round number. Yeah, I definitely way too little to start doing the mid-teen bans. And again, why not let people have that type of synergy for now? Like, we're still barely getting to that point.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some weird stuff.
Yeah,
but at the same time, that's kind of
spur some, ingenuity from people. We'll see. I don't know.
No, it's definitely so early that you can experiment with these things. Like this is the time to do it.
You're gonna have inefficient stuff, but it might be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, might as well test this stuff out now. And after a week, it's not something that's so set in stone that we're gonna have to call the lawyers and redraft up all these rules. If it's really bad, week 2, they can just change it.
Honestly, yeah, like you said, it's the kind of thing where they can just flip it on its head and just change it. But at the same time, I'm just pumped personally to see new heroes picked, like Nazebo, more use of Nazebo, more use of Murky. I want to see high level Murky play because I think it's actually a viable thing. A lot of people say he's terrible, but throughout Murky's life as a hero, even since they kind of left him alone, he's just kind of up and down. Like he just goes up and down on the personal tier lists.
Well, just because he gets picked doesn't mean he's still not terrible. It's just they had to pick him. That's all.
Murky is 3rd, 4th best hero in the game.
All right, so after we boot Zoya from the show...
I almost got his master skin unlocked.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's no...
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm 2 wins away.
Oh my gosh, that's impressive.
So close.
Does he have a master skin? No, he doesn't.
Not yet, but I'll be able to.
I think this is a good time. Why does my cam keep doing this? I don't... Anyway, I think actually since we're talking about leagues, it's a good time to start segueing away. Do you think it's too early for leagues to exist, considering that we've been seeing such instability with teams lately?
Well, let's talk about some of those instabilities. I mean, we have tons and tons and tons of changes. I don't want to get too in depth with it, but
let's get to instability. What? Yeah.
It's just by instabilities, what he's saying is like there's constant consistencies, like players swapping, players being dropped, traded, teams disbanding, and these teams are set.
Constant inconsistency.
Oh my God.
The consistency of the inconsistency is very high.
Anyways, English
variables are invariable.
English is hard, but yeah, I mean, teams like these leagues are set up to have like, okay, these are our teams, and then it's like, okay, well, this team's replacing this team. Okay, this team's gonna have walkovers all week because they're actually not ready to play, and then they're replaced. Like, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, I mean, in most league situations where at least StarCraft 2 is really easy because it's just single players. But when we get to these team situations where you have only maybe 50,000 players playing, you drop like one or two teammates. Who are you going to find next? And I think that's why a lot of these teams are just like, okay, we just give up because we can't find anybody, or they jump to something else. And I think it's a little bit. I mean, I don't want to go to town on Diamond or who's the
HPL.
HPL.
Nexus Champ.
Nexus Champ. That's it. Sorry. But I mean, right now it's just like there's only 50,000 people playing. Estimated 50,000 to 100,000 some people playing the game.
That have access to the game, not even playing, but that have access to the game.
Access to the game. So we see like 2,000, 3,000 live, maybe 5,000 at peaks. It's just there's a very limited player pool right now. Do we think it's too early for that? I mean, scrims, sure. But leagues that last multiple weeks, I mean, there's only been a handful of teams that have actually not gone through roster changes yet. There's no money involved at all.
Right. So, I mean, the obvious mentality is to build an infrastructure and to get their brand out there before anyone else. That's the obvious mentality. People just want to get involved and they want to support the Heroes community. And what they're doing is great, but I'm agreeing with you in saying that it is too early. These teams are not going to be consistent. Somebody in the chat asked, isn't this normal for esports for teams to flip-flop around? Not on a weekly basis. Like not this severely. The game's in alpha. It's super early. There are there's no money. There's like almost no contracts that are keeping these teams like kept together. The number of teams out there are limited as it is. And the competitive scene is really strong among within those teams that do exist. It's very strong, and they scrim, and the level of play is very high. But like you said, it's really kind of early for a league.
I think we're over exaggerating on some of these things. Like the flip flopping of players isn't like happening that consistently. Like one team happened to just disband at this exact moment, or Descent, or like whatever happened to Descent. They stopped being what they were before, became a new team. That just happened to happen because of internal issues. And then what happened with Snowflake was they had two replacements ready. They decided to just change the roster up for whatever reason. And then other teams saw the free agents, were like, oh, let's grab it. It's not like every team is having these internal issues. It was Snowflake making a choice and then two teams reacting to that and picking up squads. I don't think it's the player issue is that bad.
Within the last few weeks, there's been at least 5 teams that made massive roster changes. And when you consider that we only have about 20 teams, if that, that's over 25% of, like, probably 33% of the whole, competitive scene is, like, flip-flopping, like, within the last month. That's...
Well, 2 of those teams disbanded. Excelsior and Descent disbanded due to unrelated issues.
And 2ARC originally was a completely different team, and now is another different team again.
Different team.
Yeah, it's completely
so
different squad.
We can almost consider it three of the 8 or 9 teams that have gone through Diamond's league so far in the past 3 weeks. 3 weeks we have gone through have disbanded. 3 teams, 3 weeks.
But 2 of those teams were Excelsior and Descent were to unrelated issues due to like just not being bad players or anything.
Right, but here's the thing though, is that even though they disbanded due to whatever political insides and whatnot, there's no one to replace them. Like they keep trying to shove new teams in or redo or something like that. And a lot of these teams, like I think I forget who I was talking to. They're just like, we just couldn't find anybody. Like, can't find anybody that's going to be in the mindset that we need them to be. And there's only how many thousands of people playing this game right now. You have such a limited player pool, and even more limited who actually want to go competitive at this point. And there's still a giant chunk that don't even know competitive even exists.
Well, I'll go ahead and say that I do think it's too early. I think I said it on a previous Town Hall that I thought it was too early. I just don't think it's the player issue or the roster change issue why it's too early. I definitely think it's like it was horrible timing for Diamond's League, but I think that might not have been the major. Like I don't think that was just bad timing that all those things happened at the same time. Not.
Are you saying that the game just needs replay, like watchability? Like,
oh yeah, I said on Town Hall a few episodes ago that we're not ready for tournaments and stuff. Like I have to put so much time into these overlays for ECS and then King of the Nexus that the game's alpha, guys. I mean, I just wish everyone would slow down just a few months. I love that we want competition stuff, and I love casting. And I know it sounds hypocritical because I'm hosting my own little thing with Kevin, but I think it's too early. That's what I found actually pretty interesting,
and Corey also immediately pointed out too, is that TDTV Sandman also said King of the Hill style tournaments I think work much better in an environment like this. So, so yeah, we didn't even think about it, but we're apparently geniuses.
Well, I mean, just look at like Hearthstone. Like King of the Hills are huge. Machinima's King of the Hill gets like 30,000 viewers every week, and again, they suffer from that same production value thing because it's actually even harder for them. They don't have a spectator client. So they actually have to have two players use like private Twitch streams, and then they embed them together and like makeshift a production out of it. So it's like it's really crazy what they have to do. So they actually have it way worse than us. And that game's been out like at release for a while now. We're fortunate enough that our game's built on StarCraft 2 infrastructure. But before we like start rambling about Hearthstone, Dread, how do you feel about the whole thing? Do you think it's too early for a league?
Yeah, sadly I do. A little bit, but at the same time, I don't know if I would say that it's too, like some of the issues that a lot of the people, like, that you guys have brought up and, like, the general population brought up, I don't know if I would say that those are 100% the reasons why I think it's too early. I think the customs is a huge issue. And then I do agree with the limited player pool because I know that even though you don't see our roster changes because we made them very early, because we figured out what we wanted very fast and then we're not willing to settle for players. So we did have those same roster changes that everybody else has made and now have one that is very locked in. But I went through those things. I just went through them earlier than everyone else. So I can understand the struggle of the limited player pool. Finding a damage for some time was actually really difficult, and it actually wasn't until the disbanding of 2 Arc did we get Soldier. And I think that is an issue, but at the same time, I think that I like that it still exists. And I think one thing also that a lot of the people who watch the ECS because of these minor issues, it kind of takes away from the idea of the gameplay. And that's something that I think like I would like to get across. Is a lot of people feel that because there are minor issues, because some of the teams that were picked up, I think don't necessarily, like, shouldn't have been picked up. And some of them are very impressive at the same time. And so, like, the teams that I guess I feel were a part of that percentile that I think should have been picked up due to stability of gameplay and consistency and time being around, I think the only thing I would say is I do think it's too early, but I think a lot of people who watch it should also realize that it doesn't mean the games are worse. Like, a lot of these players are really good players, and a lot of these teams are really good teams. Like, I know there's a couple people when they see the post, they say, well, it was like Diamond and Friends, and it's like, no, I didn't have any idea who Diamond was. Like, almost nobody, like, that I've ever talked to knew who he was. It wasn't like he chose who he thought was fun. He chose what he thought was, like, at the top, and those games are, like, very solid games. But I do agree that there were a couple issues. I think customs is at the front of the issue with starting the league, not the players or anything else, because you can have a million teams as long as you've got customs. But right now, Symbio has a hard time scrimming even some of the upper teams right now. Sometimes, like, it depends on the day and everything else, so it is too soon.
Our MMR is too high. We can't play against the other teams. Oh, God, no one's as good as us. This is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that worries me the most is because I've done this before. I remember Natural Selection 2, I played the first one a lot. And when they announced the second one, I was like, oh, let me watch this. You know, I might want to get into this. Let's see what and the observer interface looked like crap because it was an early access build. and who knows how many I mean, I eventually went back to it because I enjoyed the game, but how many viewers are tuning into these casts and going, wow, this is Heroes, this is so alpha and jank, and the cast, like, the game just crashed, and they might not look back at it for over a year, even after release, because they have this one salty image. That's the one thing that concerns me the most about this pre-alpha.
You're right, and I think that's probably why Blizzard was trying to deter us from doing it, but the community's kind of too anxious, and they're just like, we're going.
Yeah.
Stubborn's a good way to put it, for sure. Cool. We've heard everyone's else thoughts on the topic. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think leagues are it's definitely too soon. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head in addition to what you guys are saying. I just about agree with all of it. So
it's and I want to be really, really clear here, is that I definitely do not think that the games right now are lacking in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, yeah.
I think
the games are hype.
all of them are spectacular. I think they're great. I just think if you're going for a league format and half of your teams are disbanding and making massive roster changes, next day, and I'm like looking at my sheet and I'm like, oh wait, which team is he on now? He's on this one, but he was on this one before. So it's just it's the inconsistency and whatnot that it's like, well, I mean, what are we really... But, I mean, at the same time, it's just scheduled matches. Scheduled matches that keep going on.
That's a good point, because leagues, the main thing that pulls you into a league over a show match is the storylines that build up over time. And if the storyline of this league is, look how many teams Glaurung has been on by the end of it, that's not a good story for the league.
It's like,
the name called out, but...
Glaurung's going to stay on GG, don't worry. I love him.
Yeah.
I think also I kind of have a skewed perception of all of this and this topic, because being a player and being around for a decent amount of time. I haven't been here from the start, but I've been here for a decent amount of time and played with those teams and learned the political side of a lot of them. I could predict a couple of the things, so I guess I saw them before they actually happened. Especially once one team fell out, who's going to find another team and who's not, and you can kind of guess who's going to change out what players. So it was it wasn't as big as a shock and everything blew up for me as it was for a lot of other players, in people, I guess.
Yeah.
So we've talked about leagues, and we've said that leagues probably don't make the most sense right now, but we have them going on, and we have a lot of people working hard to make them happen, which is great. It's giving the community a lot of good content. So we're not trying to shut down leagues, and we're not saying that what you're doing is bad. Just want to, just clarify that we're saying it's rough. It's a lot of work, a lot of work to create something that's going to be, 1,000 times better production value. And I'm literally moving to Corey's house so we can cast together live. That's not the reason, but it's a big incentive. Because I watched Jared and Kevin do their cast the other day, and they kept getting desynced, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's no one's fault. It's just something that's going to happen. So I'm going to make Kubi sit on my lap while we sit there and watch a game, and we're going to cast it.
Oh, please, you'll be sitting in his lap, Jake.
God, you're right.
Come on.
So leagues aside, King of the Hill, a lot of people have agreed King of the Hill is a great idea, and I think the King of the Hill format's going to be awesome, and I'm excited to see more of that stuff happen. How do you feel about a tournament that happens, a bracket is run, somebody organizes a bracket, much like Kings of the Storm, and is then casted over the course of a day? So maybe the tournament happens over a whole week, and then the actual tournament is just casted in a day. Do you think that makes more sense? Are you guys open to the idea about that? Is that something you guys like to see?
You said something very key there. It happens over a week. With how scripting works and how queuing against each other works, you couldn't have them all play. It would be a hassle for the players. If you advance, you'd have to queue another day. If you advance, you have to queue another day.
Well, just saying, we'd have the flexibility of doing it over a week. If we could bang it out in a day, that'd be great. But that's the idea. Obviously, I've been thinking about this because I want to make it easier for the players.
It's the middle ground. It's the middle ground between.
From a production standpoint, if you do it over a week for the players, then yes, a tournament would work. I think right now, though, show matches and King of the Hills are just the best way to do it. But yeah, you can make a tournament work as long as you were really, reasonable with how you set it up.
Here's the thing. Okay, no, go ahead, Dread. You are our guest.
It's just
Froyo. It's all you.
I think that is actually the healthiest way to do it. And recently, we experienced some of the issues, with the current system. And, an example would be this weekend, I have an HPL match I have to play. I've got 2 ECS matches I've got to play, and I've got to knock down King of the Hill. and that's within a 4 to 5 day period, mixed with being a full-time student and working with 9 other guys to make sure every one of those games can happen. And so, like with that, it's like it is hard to get those games in because I don't have customs. I can't make sure they happen. I sit there and I draft for 5 minutes. I sit in queue for 6, and then pray to the RNGesus that I end up getting with them. So it's like, it is an issue currently with like the type of like system that we have going on, and that one would be far more appealing. But at the same time, like whatever gets, I don't know, like whatever brings the competition, like in the viewers and the fans and everything else, and like provides competition, like I'm all down for it. I guess that might be a personality trait and just wanting to compete, but.
So, okay, I'm going to announce it right here. We've been teasing this for a few weeks. I'm going to make the announcement right now. Sorry, see you, Steve. We're bringing back Kings of the Storm. Kings of the Storm was the first tournament in the community. It's credited for some things. So we're bringing back Kings of the Storm. That's probably the series name we're going to use, and we're going to make it a one-day broadcast. That's going to have a lot of production value. It's going to be sick. Like I'm going to be putting full-time a few weeks of work to make sure the production is through the roof, and it's going to be done live at Corey's house. Corey's got fancy internet. I just ordered $500 in equipment to make sure that we have really high-quality broadcasting mics synced up, exact mics in an XLR headset, you know, like just fancy mode, tripod for camera, whole deal. So it's going to be pretty sick. So that's kind of the idea. There's no date for Kings of the Storm yet, but Kings of the Storm will be happening in the near future, and I promise you we're going to like rock the community. It's going to be the idea is we have all these leagues which are great, and the viewership's always been pretty good. But we're going to try to get something like one big event we're going to try to really just promote it, and really show the game off as professionally as possible. I was considering even doing pre-recorded and then just broadcasting it, just because there's so much quality control. That's what Hearthstone did early on, was like pre-recorded and then a lot of video editing to cut out any inconsistencies, any annoyances, okay, countdown 1, 2, 3, here we go. That way you can remove all of that and really just make it super seamless. We're still debating that. That's a ton of work, and that's less organic.
Are you not willing to do the work, Jake?
I'm willing to do the work, but I like organic. I don't edit clairvoyance for a reason. I could edit out banter and clairvoyance if I wanted to, because that's in theory an interview show, but I really like organic productions. That's just live
webcam mics, you know, production issues, that kind of thing.
Well, in a live environment, we're not going to have that issue. So yeah, that Kings of the Storm's coming back. We'll have a date for you as soon as we can, but that is the current plan of things. And Matt's, I have a Skype message. Someone's probably yelling at me. I assume it's Matt saying, "Why did you announce this?" Actually, he's probably playing Diablo right now because he's obsessed.
So wait, King of the Storm is the tournament Matt originally ran?
Yes,
that's the one that I took 3rd place in, right?
Yes, it is. That's back when you were good enough to play with Idra before they kicked you out.
Woo! Yeah, before I became a casual.
Yes. So, that was actually back when customs existed. So that tournament ran very, very easily. That's kind of like why we're going to do a different format where we're going to, we're going to give the players a few days to play all their matches out. We're going to run the bracket and just be like, okay, you advance against this player.
Were you around then, Arth?
Arthalon? Or Dreadnought?
Dreadnought? Dreadnought, wow. I just call him Arthalon. Wow.
Yeah.
Dreadnought, I'm sorry.
Did you play in
Were you around in Dread?
No, I wasn't actually.
God,
were you even in the alpha yet?
No, I wasn't. I'm pretty new when you consider everybody who's in like the scene right now in terms of alpha access.
When did you get in, for curiosity's sake?
The first wipe, I got in like a month after that.
Wow, you're such a noob!
Yeah.
So new!
Wow. Gosh, so bad. Best team, worst player.
Remember, the guilt's inside.
God, so bad. So yeah, Icy Hot's actually won that, which was Pandasaurus, Arc Z/, Executioner K, Sigh, and Jacaro. They won.
Arc Z/ is the only name I still recognize from that list too.
I mean, they won. In second place was NP is Donnie, Benny, Souls Proxy. We know Souls. Kevin and Ado. I recognize.
I remember
Ada.
most of those names. I don't know what happened. I haven't seen them.
Yeah,
in a
but
while.
Souls, I know he took a hiatus. He's actually a very, very good support player, but I don't think he has the time commitment. But you know, I see Ace of Spades and Aragi on here. Solid Smoke, Glaurung. There's a lot. I mean, Soldier. A lot of people played in it. Yeah, a lot of people played in that event. It was quite a while ago.
It was a lot of fun too. That was the first event. That was the first real hype Heroes had, like from the streaming point of view, like outside of like the first launch week. That was an awesome event.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun that week.
Wow, LZ didn't even play. LZ teamed with Tasteless.
He was with Last Shadow.
Yeah.
That was Last Shadow.
Oh, he's Barcode. That's right.
Yeah. And
wow, that was so long ago.
a long time
Cool
ago.
to see how the community's come, you know, this far. And we got guys like Proxy Wolf and ECOP that listed as substitutes. Like Proxy Wolf is actually playing a lot. Shoutouts to guys like Wolf and Kaldor and people that are StarCraft 2 casters that made it big that are actually getting involved in Heroes. Calaris is also starting to.
Wait a minute. What was that little asterisk? What was that asterisk? Yeah, people made it big.
Me and Kev, like
Yeah, not you guys.
not us.
That was the immediate just.
Casters.
Yeah, shout out to StarCraft 2 casters that made it big.
Yeah, laughing us hard.
Hey, Jared, you observed an MLG and casted an MLG. It counts for something. Kev, what'd you ever do?
Nothing.
Substitute caster for sit-outs of Axel Toss at the MLG office?
He did an IPL once and looked like Skeletor, and that's where that came from.
It is getting hot in here.
All right. Well,
okay,
we're pretty far off topic. I think that pretty much covers our competition thing, and I got a announcement out of it, and I like to derail and make announcements at the same time. It's pretty fun. I think it's time for a deep dive, but before we jump in, I actually want to show this video, even though you guys have probably seen it. I want to look at the skins, and I want you guys to pick your favorite new skin.
No Witch Doctor or Murky, don't care.
Nova!
We got Zeratul.
Zeratul. Zeratul looks pretty cool. I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, I guess he finally took the Executor, we need more Vespene gas thing seriously, and just, like, put it all over him.
Okay.
Tyrael looks boring.
I think he looks
cool sword,
I think
though.
he looks cool. I like it.
Got a nice
But it
sword.
doesn't come close to Seraphim Tyrael.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I like this skin a lot.
Worst skin.
Best skin.
Ace of Spades.
Yo, let's talk about that Hot Wheels Tychus with the
Yeah.
with the scope on
Very
the
silly
minigun.
looking.
The scope on the
I saw this
minigun.
one and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Maybe the color tints are gonna be cool, but scope on the minigun
You
and
know
then
what he looks like?
flames.
So
He's got those dots on him, like when they do CG for people, and they have the guy with like all the points on him. Like, that's what he looks like.
This is probably the most boring one. He has an eye patch, he's got a scope, and he's got a bayonet.
I said-
What are those
I said
things
he-
called?
I said he looks like he.
Oh, the Bayonetta.
I
That's
said
a minigun.
Rainer looks like he went to TGI Fridays and he was told he doesn't have enough pieces of flare on his
Yeah, he needs
uniform,
more
so he
flare.
just threw a whole bunch of things on.
I'm really
Brightwing,
excited
nobody
for-
cares about Brightwing, so let's
Yeah,
keep
Brightwing's
going.
trashed here.
I want tints. I want tints on that. That's all I care about. Seeing the tints.
I heard something else for a second. Like, why would you want that on a dragon?
Nova looks Tron as hell.
Oh my god, I love this skin, and like I hope they have a blue tint of this. I think it'll be really cool. Then they would be actually Tron, and I want it to like kind of match the white hammer. I think that'd be really
okay.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Dreadnought, what are your thoughts on these master skins?
What's your favorite?
Favorite would hands down be for like aesthetics only with Nova. I mean, it slays all the rest. The rest of them are very like boring. But
Agreed.
I am
Agreed.
most attracted to the Brightwing one just because I like her. She's one of my favorite characters in the game.
Oh, I like
So-
this guy.
Was that attracted? You're attracted.
Yeah, it was a bad word.
Yeah, she's got nice tints.
Amazing.
Yeah, dude. Did you see those horns? Oh my goodness.
You see those tints?
Yeah, man, those
But,
tints were.
No, if her
Great.
tints are cool, it'll definitely be one of my favorites. But the Novas was just hands down the coolest. Like the Hot Wheels Tychus, I think is like absurd and really, really like annoying.
Yeah, I think it's dumb.
The Rainer is the same thing. It's like, what did you like? You just threw some stuff. Like you have a scope and like a bayonet and an eye patch. Like
Bayonet,
I
that's
don't know.
what it's called.
The Zeratul though would definitely be place number 2 for characters like I don't play like and don't have any.
Coobs? Pick one.
Zeratul. I like Zeratul.
Me too. Good.
No,
We're friends. We're friends. Sham?
Yo, Nova.
Nova?
Zeratul, though, is pretty cool just because I feel like it'd be really cool if Zeratul, instead of having arms, just had giant pylons.
Okay, it's an idea. You've killed Jared, so Jared doesn't get a pick. Jared, you can get a pick.
Oh, no Witch Doctor or Murky, I don't care.
Rip.
They're all bad. They're all bad in my book.
God, you, Jared.
All right. Well, those are the new tints. There's actually a lot more skins coming out. According to Matt, he saw other stuff at PAX, so hopefully we see those soon. There's like a Warden Tyrande. I'm very anxious to see that skin. So it'll be cool to see what else they have in store, and cool to see what they put in the patch that's coming out tomorrow. See if we get any of these tints. I assume.
Hopefully, Money Pig. I want that mount already.
Oh my god!
I forgot that was a thing.
So old.
Yeah. There's also a flying carpet mount.
Yeah.
I want a vulture. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Blizzard, please give us a StarCraft mount. Just give me a vulture or something. That'd be awesome.
I'll just be another form of Rainer.
As long as you can shoot while moving on the vulture, I don't care. And if you played StarCraft Broodor, you'll get that reference. If not, you won't. Never mind. It's okay. We'll just keep. Let's talk about other StarCraft stuff. Let's talk about like Tassadar or something.
Tassadar.
Tassadar.
Speaking like a Texan. So we have our self-proclaimed expert here, Dreadnought. Corey's doing the quotations. Do the quotations again. Do them again.
I have never claimed to be a Tassadar pro.
You know, okay, we hear that a lot, but you know, come on.
Come on.
Well, today you are the Tassadar Pro, and before we jump in to talk a little bit more about how you play the character and like positioning and just basically his role in a team fight, Kev, why don't you run us through his abilities?
Sure thing. So Tassadar, title Savior of the Templar. I don't know how you can be the savior when you're dead. He's from the franchise of StarCraft. He has a really cool carrier. It's called the Ganithor. It was awesome. It also exploded in his death. But continuing on, his combat trait is Oracle. It's got a cooldown of 30 seconds. Greatly increases your vision radius and allows you to detect enemy heroes, cloaked enemy heroes, and lasts for 7 seconds. He has his 3 standard abilities. He's got Plasma Shield on his Q with a cooldown of 8 seconds. Shield target ally absorbing 200 plus 40 per level damage for 8 seconds. Psionic Storm on his W is an area of effect attack. It's got a cooldown of 8 seconds. Deal 48 damage plus 12 per level per second to enemies in the target area for 3 seconds. And then Dimensional Shift, which is his escape mechanism on E. Cooldown of 20 seconds, become invulnerable and fully invisible for 1.5 seconds. He's got 2 heroic abilities. He's got Archon, a heroic ability with 100-second cooldown. Tassadar gains 200 plus 40 per level point shield, and his basic attacks deal 94 plus 14 per level damage. His basic attacks also splash for half that damage, and it lasts for 15 seconds. And he's got Force Wall, because Blizzard didn't learn from StarCraft 2, let's put more force fields in this game. Cooldown of 12 seconds creates a wall that blocks all units from moving through it for 2.5 seconds.
Bam. Well, that is Tassadar and those abilities that he has. So let's talk about how the character plays and kind of the different roles that he fulfills, because a lot of supports end up just being healing, but Tassadar doesn't really fit that. Dread, how do you play Tassadar when you play him?
Definitely full dips. He can't really play a full like support. Typically, like the most standard build would be just run like spec into W 100% and just do a lot of damage. There's definitely a lot of other ways to play him. Messiah being the most common on him right now, but that's really like the only thing that I think that I would say that I do very different than most Tassadars is his dimensional shift. I like to use aggressively rather than defensively. And so I'll use it as like the DPS might get on me and then they'll expect me to withdraw, but I'll use it aggressively and come up behind them, like, and then do burst damage unexpectedly.
How often do you see you guys taking Force Wall? Because right now it's usually like 99% Archon. Are there ever situations where you're like, let's do Force Wall here because of X?
I would say that we haven't totally gotten to the point where we feel comfortable with it. It's such a high skill cap, like, spell that it's like you need a lot of practice before you're willing to like run it in top tier games, but it's definitely one that we have been slowly implementing more and more into our matches. It's really strong and underestimated, definitely underused.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually saw a thread on Reddit and just talking about how Force Wall might need a rework. Do you agree with that? Do you think the ability just doesn't make sense right now? Do you think it needs to be changed?
I don't know if I'd say it needs to be changed. If it did, what they were doing was like an implementation of, rather than using one wall like that's always the same direction, you could lay 3 within a certain amount of time to essentially make like a little cove or something, I believe, on that forum. But either way, I don't think it needs to be changed. I think it's just people don't know how to use it properly or are afraid to lose Archon because he can't full support. He'd be like, in that scenario with a Force Wall, he's kind of like a utility damage rather than like where every other damage in the game right now is either bruiser damage or thoroughbred damage. So when you see this like weird group that he falls under, nobody knows like how to play him or if he's okay to play that way.
So as soon as you start talking about the potential rework, which is kind of more like Brightwing, where you have charges of Force Wall and they're smaller, I could see Corey like perk up. He is like, "Ooh, I'm the resident Protoss. I can force field in like three times, like 3 little ones. Ooh, give me this, give me this, give me this." Like Century City, I could see like Huck picking that up immediately. Huck does play heroes, and he'd just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna force wall all you," and then get.
I will quit the game if that happens. I'm a Zerg main here. I don't mess with that nonsense. I left that game for a reason, guys.
Yeah, I think that might be too strong if they gave him that much control of his force wall. But who knows? Who knows? It's an interesting idea.
Way back in the day, Force Wall was the pick.
Oh, yes,
no, Force Wall, like everybody's always been like, "Oh man, Force Wall's terrible." And then I remember I had to make a video where it was just like, "Look at me get 5-man kills just because of Force Walls and stuff," and still people are like, "No, whatever."
When I first played Tassadar, one of my first learning characters in that I ever played like seriously in League was actually a Nivea. And so just the minute I saw the W, I was like, this is it. Like, there is no other answer. He was one of the first characters like that I played consistently because of Force Wall. I never played Archon until the rework, actually.
Yep.
Now, Tassadar used to be a lot different. Actually, he's the first hero we've ever come back and revisited for a deep dive, because the last time we did a deep dive on Tassadar, the next day they patched him and changed him completely. He used to have an ability called Time Warp, which they then removed and replaced with Psystorm, which makes sense. He's a High Templar. He should have Psystorm.
Were you here for Time Warp, Dreadnought?
I was.
Okay.
That was when I originally played him.
Those are some weird days.
He was a very different hero. He's a very different hero, and now he's much more offensive. Back then, he was more of a support. Like, the Time Warp gave you the slow. His shield was often spec'd into pretty fully. People went for the full shield and the retain on the shield. The shield that stays on. You don't see that anymore.
Kalaris, or Kalaris, wow. Kadarin Amulet.
Yeah.
The Kalaris Amulet.
The Kalaris Amulet was removed from StarCraft 2. Was it not, right? Did they delete it from the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
off
so.
topic.
That was patched out early.
Off topic.
Yeah,
but yeah, so nowadays we're seeing this aggressive build. And you said positioning-wise, you often use his E, the Void Shift. Is that what it's called?
Dimensional shift.
Use it aggressively. Obviously, people do use it defensively, and I'm sure you do definitely use it in some situations defensively. But do you think that's something that like is an untapped potential that a lot of Tassadars aren't using, to use that to like just initiate per se?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say full initiate, but I think it's definitely one of the most underestimated, like not tapped into ways to play him. It's not, obviously not 100% of the time, but there's a lot of the time where they'll burst into you aggressively with a large quantity of CC, and they expect you to dimensional shift out. And so the front line will shift very far forward into your team, expecting to be able to get a pick on you, and leaving their backline really susceptible to an instant shield Archon burst damage that he can distribute. And it's something that I think if you can bail on CC and incoming damage and get a positional advantage where it's not like just a 1v5, I think a lot of people don't use that aggressively enough.
Do you think there would ever be a point in time where you would consider speccing into Force Wall and try to initiate with Dimensional Shift and then a Force Wall setup? Is that something you've tried in the past?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ways to play him, and it was one build I was going to talk about today, actually. And yeah, it's definitely something that I think you will see much more of. It's not so much a shift aggressively, like it could be used sometimes that way, but it's actually going to be more of a holy cow, Tassadar is overextending, and then you see a great force wall, and then you see the abusing of his speccing into his E to never be able to die. So he'll actually be able to get positional advantage and then be able to juke multiple times and possibly get 2 good force walls in one team fight.
Awesome.
I think I might have that replay when we were playing on Garden of Terror the other day, and Dreadnought got force wall, and all he was doing, he wasn't even attacking anybody. He was just running around, force walling people, then dimensional shifting away, then coming back in, then force walling people away, and then dimensional. It literally took the enemy team like 2 minutes to kill him. Like 4-on-1.
Were you just having fun?
Oh yeah, it was just we had a really big lead, and I was just having a good time. But it was on Garden of Terror, so it was on the bottom half of the map where there's that large quantity of brushes. There's like 4 in a row there. There's like that one next to Giants, one sitting in the middle, and one going to mid lane. And so what I was doing is like they would all come to get me while I was going for the bot fort because we could have pushed the core. And then all of a sudden you see them like, holy cow, we got to kill Tassadar. And so then like 2 would come in. I'd like just side storm, dismount half of them. They would overextend trying to kill me. I'd force wall, walk into a brush, and then E juke because I had the movement speed, so I can move from one brush to the other. I'd mount up and like walk circles around them, force wall again, and then E back to a different brush because like I could abuse it, and then I would let them like almost kill me like in the middle of sight, and then I would get it procs at 15%, and then I would distort back into a shrub, mount up, walk away, force wall again. It was just it's amazing.
It's the most obnoxious thing I've ever heard.
Oh my god!
Wait for it to get just a little bit better. He also took Resurgence. They killed him. And he went right back in again, and he lasted long enough, just in an engagement, lasted long enough that Resurgence came back.
Fuck off.
Oh my god. Can you get this video up, Stat?
I was on the floor laughing. I think we were playing with Idra, and I think Greg at the one point was just sitting there just watching it. Like I saw Greg's character just stop moving and just watching this happen.
Jared hates it.
Well, okay. I got a little bit distracted by the chat, but that I don't know why you haven't cast that game yet, Kev.
Anyway.
It's like, I don't know, it's not something that I do actually to troll. It's because like I get to put myself in really bad scenarios so I can like actually like test things. Like it is fun and it's a good time, but it's like where I can actually test how viable is double E in terms of like playing overly aggressive Tassadar with force wall. So like in the end it is really funny and it's a good time, but in the end like I get to learn something really out of it too. So
and you're a good distraction. It sounds like you're probably just keeping people busy for a good amount of time.
Oh yeah, it was a minimum of 3 people for 6 minutes. Like it was
just do that in ECS this next week, and I will hype the crap out of it, man.
So on that note, why don't you take us through that build? Let's just start with level 1, just kind of run through the build and why you get each pick.
Okay, well that one is a really unique one where you would just go almost always level 1. You would go for the overloaded damage on your W. From that point, it would be typically Healing Ward, and then level 7 has multiple options, but the best would actually be probably increased duration on Dimensional Shift, Force Wall, then again, speccing in Dimensional Shift so it automatically procs. One thing that a lot of people might not know is that actually uses mana, so if you're that won't actually proc. It happened to me during that game, actually. That was one of the issues. As it wouldn't proc, I was like, oh my gosh, that takes mana. But, so yeah, it does consume your mana. And then the movement speed and heal, level 16. And then again, it's Force Wall. It is 100% dedicated to just light shields, a little bit of damage, and, like, Force Walling really aggressively.
God, this sounds so fun.
Yeah, it does.
Gosh.
Let's talk about your more standard build for scrims and etc. Like when your team is running a Tassadar, what is the build you typically go for? And why do you normally pick those talents over other ones? I guess would be the best way.
Level 1, there's almost no talent that is, unless you're doing a really strange strat, that competes with Overload. Overload's damage on that W is just too ridiculous. It is just too good. Level 4 is where I think people have different point of views on this one. Some think that the basic attack heal would be better, but overall, typically we will go Healing Ward, unless we see a large necessity to need get sight, and actually mental acuity is really good. For instance, against Zeratul. would be a prime example to take that. The reduced cooldown on your passive is insane.
You talked about Healing Ward earlier, and you talked about what, like, you take it on almost certain heroes that it's almost an auto pick on. Is there any hero that you just don't default to Healing Ward on? Because you guys seem to like it a lot.
We do like Healing Ward a lot. I would have to look at every character that holds Healing Ward and be able to tell you, but I would say a large portion of the time I think Healing Ward is the best decision.
I don't even know who all has them.
That's really interesting.
But
level 7 definitely would be damage on your auto attack, static charge for your W. 10, Twilight Messiah or Archon. Level 13, there's multiple options here. Some will argue Shrink Ray, some would say movement speed. I personally am a huge fan of Distortion Beam. But when you are the only focus, like, fire for your team, like you are the largest threat in the kill target, running the activation on your dimensional shift is also a really big option there. But most of the time, definitely Distortion Beam. The slow and the CC is too good, especially if you ran with like an Executioner, which isn't common, but it is an option at that point. 16 is a huge damage spike for Tassadar. With the double use of your W with Second Strike, it is just absolutely absurd. Whether it's for sieging or for just team fighting, it is insane. And then level 20 is actually not Resurgence like most characters. Twilight Archon is another colossal damage spike for Tassadar.
Twilight Archon's so absurd. It's like 3-shot certain heroes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You give it Bloodlust, and it's just terrifying.
The ham is real.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous build. But yeah, that build sounds pretty standard. And like you said, level 13 seems to be like kind of one of the more optional things based on your composition and based on the enemy composition.
Yeah.
Actually, fun fact is back when Tassadar had Searing Attacks and Berserk, I actually also used to use Dimensional Shift to be offensive, and I would Dimensionally Shift into the middle of the enemy team, and then Twilight Archon pop Berserk and Searing Attacks.
I think
and just like 3-shot the entire team. Didn't matter who it was. 1,400 hits. But that was the old build.
Then.
I think you.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you did that back. I think you told us that build back in our last deep dive.
Yeah, I think I did too.
You ran over that build, and I kind of laughed at it, honestly. But it sounds terrifying. But it's just like that's not what Tassadar is supposed to be. And now we see Tassadar nowadays, and he's just like super aggressive, super aggressive. Yeah, he's like he's terrifying.
Quick question: a certain co-host, not going to point any names, but they seem to be under the impression that Mule is just auto take or die. Like, you might as well just leave the game if you're not taking Mule. Is that the case with Tassadar, Mr. Dreadnought?
No, it isn't.
Boom, Kevin. Boom, Kevin. I mean, unnamed guest host thing.
Mule is a very good talent, and but there are some characters that you cannot lose their other options for it. So characters where Mule is an option is Malfurion. Tyrande is another one. There's one more that I'm missing. Lily, I don't believe so. Is the good stuff, I think, is what she sacks. 25% healing on her Q.
That's
it's either making Lily useful or getting a talent, or getting Mule. And actually, I just, Lily's so useless that I'd rather just have Mule.
Boom, the chat got it. Abathur's the other character.
Yeah.
Those three are very viable options to take.
Yeah.
No, I still grab Mule on Tassadar. Dreadnought, I know you're on Symbio.
Symbio going. Symbio going, yes.
Yeah, soon to be going, more like it, if you don't start picking Mule on Tassadar.
I wouldn't say that it's a horrible decision. He's actually one of the few where I can actually see
Dreadnought,
some
you started
justification.
strong. Just end the conversation here.
But compared to like a character like Brightwing, if I cannot see ever bailing on Rejuvenating Reigns, it is too good of a passive. Like where
she needs it. She needs it. She absolutely needs it. She's not a character without that ability. It's honestly,
I too have been misguided in my youth. You'll see the light.
Okay.
So So, I mean, mules are great for taking shots from their nexus. When you're pushing, that's about their only use, though, right?
Scouting.
Yeah, scouting mules are the best, man.
Scouting mules at Giants and Knights.
Dread's about to lay down the law.
To bring back full forts, you know. Saving your core. Yeah, just mule things.
It can be used as a jungling tool, actually, on Abathur. Level 7, you can solo a night camp with your passive and a mule.
Don't lie to me.
You really can.
What's the path?
Don't give away the secrets, Dread.
Oh
I figured this out the other night. So what happens is it's really difficult to do and takes a bit of practice, but you'll move to the camp, and then you will auto-attack it right before your passive spawns. Then you drop the mule, where 3 of them are going to turn to attack it, and they will start attacking it and like auto-attacking it before it actually can take damage while it's coming down. So they'll be distracted for longer than just the health pool of the mule. Then you symbiote on top of your creep, and you do a bunch of damage. You drop the mines. Then it'll kill the mule, swap to your creep, you'll spawn another creep in that amount of time, and be able to kill the camp.
How are you so good at this game?
You guys are freaking ridiculous.
What the hell?
That just blew my mind.
I wouldn't believe anyone if it wasn't you saying this, and it's just like, wow.
Why?
Wow.
So, I'm gonna practice that tonight because tomorrow I have to do free week as Abathur.
Oh no, you better do it. If you don't do it, then you're off the show.
Do or die, Kevin.
Start practicing.
It should be noted.
Or
you are almost
your head.
no health, and if anybody comes to stop you, there is no escape at that point. There is none. It has happened many a times where that one guy's walking by, and then I'm just like, well, here I am, no health, I'm trying to do your camp. And then just get dunked.
Level
Anybody
7
want noodles?
night camp as a noodle. I want to see it happen, Kev.
I need I listened and I understood it, but I think my mind started to blow in the middle of that, and I kind of lost half of it.
Oh yeah, I'll do it in game with you. I'll give you show you how it's done.
Oh my god.
Personal coaching.
Wow.
All right. So Tassadar, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the best heroes, but he's just pretty straightforward when it comes to playing him. He's not, unless you're talking just about his phase shift. He's just Tassadar, man. It's hard to diversify yourself as a Tassadar unless you're doing crazy Dreadnought stuff with Force Wall.
I think I don't know. The reason why I like Tassadar is he would be one of 3 characters in the game, I would say, right now that have 3 very different builds that are all equally viable on a competitive level. And that's why I like him. You can go pure damage, which is the most common you see. You can go almost pure damage mixed with some defensive on your double E, so you can't be focused and killed very easily if you're a high target, or you can go purely force wall with defensive stats on your E. But actually, in reality, we've never even ran that. When we run force wall, we run damage, everything, minus force wall. So, I mean, I guess I would say there's even 4. The only other characters that can do that in the game right now would be Vala, who has a lot of builds that are available to her. The only thing that really isn't huge about her is her other ult is still But, and then Tychus also has that option. And so Tassadar is really awesome, the things you can do with them.
The love is real.
I'm gonna come out and say that we are gonna see Stampede a lot more in the future. That's gonna be my divine insight. That Stampede has I think it's an amazing ability, and I think we will see it be used in a lot of compositions in the future.
You pushing your
Are we talking about
Vala's second?
You mean it's Reign of
Vengeance? I'm sorry.
I was thinking what is this guy talking about? Stampede? That's the hunter ability from WoW.
So let me. I play Demon Hunter. I play Demon Hunter in Diablo, and the trait is called Stampede that makes it act like that. So it's called Stampede in Diablo 3. That's why I always think of it as Stampede.
I was so confused. I was like, what the hell is this guy on about?
Sorry. Reign of Vengeance. Reign of Vengeance is the base ability. Stampede is the trait that makes it act like the shadow beasts.
I mean, it has a place already if your comp doesn't have any interrupt and you need something to interrupt an ETC or something like that, but I think Strafe's still going to be the #1 priority. Because if you're drafting right, you'll have a way to interrupt those high priority heroics or ultimates or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well. But I'm not saying that it's useless by any means. Like, I don't think that at all. But it's very situational, and I don't think you'll ever see it be like that, like 70-30 option, like where it's like, well, you know, they could see the Rain of Vengeance. It's like only if you know they need to stop that one guy and have nothing else.
Can you guys hear my cat pawing at the door? I don't know if that's annoying, but on the street.
No.
Good. He's like, good. Good.
Good.
Okay, continuing on. So if I'm playing Tassadar and I got one buddy, we want to queue up together. What's like the best duo queue for Tassadar? Rhaegar.
Done and done.
Coops.
You think it's that big of a deal?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna make our guest pick our duo queue every week. That's gonna be a new thing.
Really? Huh.
So duo queue, we're gonna record tonight. Yes. You're playing.
Okay, this is what you do. You get Feral Lunge, and you auto attack mid lunge. You click the next target. You go really deep. Tassadar aggressively shifts in, and then all of a sudden, just boom, Archon Bloodlust. See you, nerds. That's it. That's how I need
sounds
it.
so fun. Oh, that sounds so fun. All right, so that's gonna.
Well, so actually,
we can effectively 2v5 a team. Yes. Okay. I like
quick question on that then. If you're going to be going for Tassadar or Rhaegar, would you want to be getting Empowering Charge? Or would you want to get Healing Totem? Empowering Charge is
Rhaegar?
Lightning Shield increases damage of targets next 3 basic attacks by 25%.
Healing Ward.
Healing Ward? Okay. I was just making sure.
Think about it.
If you're doing Bloodlust and Archon, I mean, I'd see that 25% extra damage on the next 3 attacks being pretty chunky, but...
No, yeah, it definitely could be, but I would argue that 4% health a second would be even better.
That's true.
Question.
Well, 2%, because you'd still get the Healing Ward on Tassadar.
Yeah, and then stack them together.
So it's an additional 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, any final thoughts on Tassadar? We are running out of time.
I have a question about Healing Word, if we have time for it.
Go ahead. Yeah, quick.
So Healing Word, it lasts 10 seconds, which is a reasonably long time for a MOBA. Now, early game, obviously, it's easy to focus it down, but what about late game? You know, when your auto attacks are doing serious damage, do you think the 2% healing over the 10 like every second for 10 seconds, do you think that's a high enough priority that in team fights, like late game, you should be like on the hunt for the healing wards if you have the opportunity to shoot it?
If you do have the opportunity, it is like definitely worth the auto attacks, especially if you're a tank or a bruiser and you aren't like going out of position in order to get it. But one of the things that it's like, if it's played properly, you'll almost never be able to do that. So it's like when the opportunity comes, definitely get rid of it. I mean, it's essentially 20% of your maximum health if you let it go. So their maximum health.
Right. Multiple heroes.
And if you have 2 of them, that's even more healing. That's man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You're the first team we've seen really utilizing it that way, and I mean, why? Stop being so. You guys are so annoying. Make other people look at least decent. Come on. Try hard.
My last Dreadnought question. The elephant in the room. You guys are currently the top team on Heroes of the Storm. What do you fear about the open beta? Do you guys think that you're going to remain on top? Do you think you're going to be probably like middle tier or like, I mean, it's obviously an impossible question, but if you guys are a middle tier team, like, are you still going to go like full on gaming house team on it or what?
Yeah, I think no matter our position, as long as the game like financially can support the option of going as a 5-man group and going 100% for the game, we will do it. I'll say that like when thinking of beta and everybody else coming in, I've thought about that a lot, and whether or not I fear it, I don't know. I think one of our, like I said, our biggest advantage is that we're a team that can really learn. And I think that might be something that is definitely an advantage. Even if like a new team comes in and they're just far better players, our ability to adapt is big enough that I don't ever see us falling out to be like irrelevant. I definitely think that there will be a lot of other teams that struggle with the popularity in the large group of players, but it's not something that I think I fear. And if we do fall to mid-tier, then there will be nothing changing in terms of like passion and drive of the players. Like, we definitely all have a very competitive mentality, very dedicated, and are really willing to like look at ourselves and say, what are we doing wrong? And I think that is an advantage we have for sure.
More than likely, you'll just have to replace that soldier guy though, because
because he knows he's in the chat.
Like, have you seen his character pool? He's got like 3 characters he can play at best, like 1 at a competitive level.
God, what
like,
a scrum.
Like, wow. Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, He's got like level 10 Murky and like level 10 Illidan and level 10
Lily.
Abathur. I mean, what is this guy's hero pool? Let's be honest.
What is this guy? Soldier, man. He's crazy.
He is.
All right. All right.
Oh,
Arthlon coming in the chat. I like it. I like it. Coop, any final questions for him?
If anything, I'm gonna ask about the. You said you were the main shot caller for the team. How much of the overall airtime, I'm gonna say, is like you calling shots? Is it like whatever you say, like you've rehearsed this and it's just like you make decisions if it's like a 50-50, or like how much input is going on during the match?
It's something that's changed over time, but right now how it is I'm definitely like the main, I guess, airtime wise. I would say I run like 65 to 70% of it, but there's a lot of input from Soldier and Arthlon. Originally, before Soldier, it was just me and Arthlon, and then now it's Soldier's got a lot of good input too. Like I said, he's very good end game calling. But overall, we don't have an official like rule. It depends on the game, and we all have very good strengths and weaknesses on shot calling, and so it all depends on the situation of the game. But as a whole, I definitely pull a slight like higher airtime than the rest. Like I don't know. It's like technically I was voted to be like, because I didn't want to be like, I asked the team if that's what they wanted, I would be it. So that's why I'm in the position that I am in now. And it's not like any of us are like the main. I mean, if one of us can do better, they get the role.
One of the major things I see is a flaw with either some of the top teams or just newer teams that are coming is they do struggle with the shot calling aspect of it. Are there any general tips that you could give to the newer teams out there who are struggling either to find a shot caller, or the shot caller is just, like what is some tips that you've experienced from the last few months of playing with these guys?
I would definitely say if it's good to have a shot caller, as even if he's not the best in the world. Following him, a 5-man to a bad decision is better than 3 to a good. So always dedicate yourself no matter how bad you think the call is at that time. And if it's bad, don't rage at him. If you think about it, it's very easy to put the shot caller as the reason why you won or lost a game, and it's a lot easier to say why you lost a game. And very rarely are you going to sit there and be like, that call is what won us the game, like, good job. Like, he's going to get very little praise and a lot of, like, smack if he fails you. So don't be too harsh on him, and be willing to look back, and if you are the shot caller, be willing to look back at what you did. Even if you won the game, what did you do wrong? Did you have an advantage at a certain point and you got nothing out of it because then you didn't play you didn't call as best as you could? It's like, I think that's one thing that a lot of teams aren't doing right now, and that we like do a lot, is like we look at like we've won, but it's like, did we win the way we wanted to? And so just shot callers, like, analyze yourself and be willing to like accept the flaws of that guy. Like, because if he wants to get better, you guys will all get better with him.
That was a great answer. Thank you.
That's really good advice. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Dreadnought for president. All right, well, Dreadnought, we do have to wrap up the show here, so why don't you give some shout-outs and tell people where they can find you online.
All right, first shout-outs definitely everybody involved in the team: KO, Arthlon, Soldier, Mad Timmy. I love those guys. They're awesome. Like, we have a great time playing together. You can find me on Twitter at Dreadnought Hots, on Twitch at Dreadnought Heroes. I have a Facebook, which is actually just my actual personal Facebook currently, and then we also have a team Facebook, which is at symbiogaming.com. We have a Twitter at Symbio Gaming, where you can find every one of my players on my team. Other than that, shout out to Kat for everything that she does for us. I mean, that's about all I got, really.
Keva, we're mixing it up, going to you next.
Ooh. This is so different. Whoa!
Shout out to Dreadnought. Him and I talk a lot, and he's like one of my favorite people to talk to in the scene. He's got like a ridiculous understanding of the game, as we can see in the previous statements about shot callers. That was really profound. Made me cry a little bit. So shout out to you, dude, for coming on. I'm really happy to have you on. Of course, you can. Wow, as I clicked the wrong bloody button. There we go. I've got my free week vote that needs to go up, so I need you guys to do me the favor, find out who I'm going to be playing tomorrow for free week. It looks pretty convincingly for Abathur, but
I want to see.
Who knows, chat? Maybe you guys break it and make Lily happen.
I voted for Lily.
Nope.
No, I want to see the challenges.
I want to see the night camp.
I want to see the night camp too. I want to see this happen. And yeah, so follow me on youtube.com/sham2, SCHAMTOO, and as well as twitter.com/sham2, SCHAMTOO. And of course, another shout out real quick to our iTunes viewers. Or listeners. We are actually doing really well on iTunes lately. We're at like 250 some subscribers. So guys, you are part of our biggest fan base. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Even though you don't have video, I hope you guys stay at least this long. I know when I was listening to iTunes, I would tune out way before this part. But thank you so much for listening in on iTunes. We try to keep you guys in mind as much as possible.
Jared, you're next.
Shout out to IVD Gaming. They are my team. We have a lot going on in the hero zone right now. Could potentially see a team pickup soon.
Ho ho ho!
So get ready for that. I will be taking a manager role. This is the first time I've ever been a manager of a team. I've been on lots of teams as players and casters, but I'm stepping up as manager, which I think will just give me a lot of experience overall, like just talking to sponsors and handling that kind of thing. So I'm kind of really excited about that. But keep an eye on IVD Gaming and what we're doing. You can follow them on Twitter at IVD Gaming. Follow me at IVD Zoya. No word on if I'm casting any ECS next week, but again, King of the Nexus. Is that what we're calling it? I forgot the name of it already. King of the Nexus. It's happening probably this Sunday. It's going to be Glorious Gaming versus SMG. Make sure you guys tune in. That'll be on this channel. VOD's going over to youtube.com/sham2. Keep watching Town Hall, guys. Love the show. I think that's all my shout-outs. Oh, yeah, and Druid is broken, and Hearthstone needs to delete that class. Thank you.
Goobs!
3 more. I need 3 more followers till I hit 100.
Oh my god. Omega Black Mage on Twitter.
Yes.
Go!
Follow me at Omega Black Mage, please.
Yeah. Go!
You can see sweet Kubi kitty pics.
He posted a picture of his cat in a dinosaur costume. Like, how do you not follow that? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
So, yeah, let's see. Coming up. All right, so we're going to be recording Duo Q number 3 tonight. We'll have an interesting combo. We will pull off some sick plays. We'll be doing some aggressive bloodlusting with a Dark Archon. It's going to be fun. So look for that probably tomorrow, Jake.
It'll be up tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do that.
Dreadnought, you have some extra words to say.
Yeah, there was one actually thing that I wanted to say is Soldier, my teammate, the range Dips player, actually on Twitch right now has 2,999 followers for that 3K hype. So if somebody watching could go and follow that guy, I will love you forever.
That's awesome.
That was it.
Well. Maybe I don't know if I follow Soldier. I could oblige. I think I do. I probably do.
I do because I'm not a casual.
I probably do. Anyways, for myself, you can follow me youtube.com/solidgeekgg. That's where this VOD will be. If you're watching the VOD and you want to watch our live stream, it's YouTube or it's twitch.tv/ZoyaTV. And we have I have my own personal stream, which is twitch.tv/solidjakegg. Please do me a huge favor and follow my my Twitch channel because it's actually pretty new. I'm going to be streaming a buttload. I was streaming a bit with Chef the other day. What, you laughing at the word buttload?
I'm a 12-year-old. Leave me alone.
I said buttload and you're laughing.
Nice. Nice, Jared.
Yeah, so my Twitch is going to be very important for me moving forward. We're going to be doing Clairvoyance live once or twice a week, potentially twice a week. We actually did our interview with LZ Gamer and Idra yesterday where for Clairvoyance is different than Town Hall where it's actually more just kind of like getting the personal opinions for about 45 minutes of 2 guys on hot topics in the community and learning a little bit more about their past, their history, and their perception of the competitive scene. We did one with Arth and Dread a while back. You could find that on my YouTube, and we've done like 5 or 6 of them now actually. So that's once or twice a week. We got another one coming up, I think Thursday night. And again, you can expect to see Duo Q on my YouTube tomorrow night, where Core and I sit down with 2 characters. Tonight's going to be Rhaegar and Tassadar. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to do that.
It's going to
be interesting. I always lean towards the supports, and I've actually never done the lunge build with Rhaegar. I've actually never done it. I've got Master Skin with Rhaegar, and I know how I play him, and I like how I play him. And I've looked at the lunge build and said that looks cool, but I'm excited to just kind of jump in and do it. So looks like, yeah, Soldier broke 3,000. Thanks for the help with that, guys. Congrats, Soldier, on breaking 3,000 followers. And I think that does it for Town Hall episode number 30. We've broken the number 30. Hopefully we'll just keep on going and going and going. But And final thing I want to say is on Twitter, we challenged the Blizzard Heroes community managers to a duel or a show match for BlizzCon. Now, all of us are trying to make it to BlizzCon. As long as we have tickets, I think we should all be there. Even though I don't have a job, I already booked my flight. I already booked my hotel. I don't have a Blizzard ticket, a BlizzCon ticket, so hopefully we can get those. And if that happens, we want to battle the CMs. I don't know if they'll accept, but we've sent out the challenge, and Blizzard.
Sure,
yeah, the biggest stage of the year for BlizzCon, we challenge you. Let's go.
And
secret fifth member to be announced at some later date.
We already know. You guys win. Can this challenge you?
We're just gonna take Dreadnought.
Yeah, we'll take Symbio after we body Blizzard. We'll take you down.
Let's go. Right.
I'll show you the power of Emerald Wind.
Yeah.
My little fairy dragon. All right. Enough of that. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Town Hall.